So what was the issue with? I'm totally in the dark for this like Evo shit. What exactly?
Oh, here we go. This should be interesting. I don't know exactly what that was.
Light him up.
Oh, Dado, you wanna take this one?
Please, someone please fill me in.
I don't know all of the details, but basically what it comes down to is allegedly if you
He admitted to guilt.
He admitted it. Yeah, he has admitted it and has gone on record. And there's multiple other. The thing is, there's multiple clips from years ago of people saying this stuff. It just sounds so outlandish that it just sounded like crazy. Like nobody saw. Like if you saw it, you just wouldn't believe it. But basically, this man, Mr. Wiz or Joey, head of Evo, was just like whenever young kids would come into the arcade or gullible people that didn't have a lot of money, he would make bets with them like, oh, do 10 naked jumping jacks and I'll give you 40 tokens.
What? Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse.
It gets so much worse. Almost to the point where it's hard to tell the story because it just sounds so gross. But then a young kid, the one that came out and exposed all of this stuff, told a particular story about how they were talking about dick size, and they were talking about how Asian people had small dicks, and the kid was like, no, I have a big dick. And Joe was like, prove it, bro. Prove it to me in the bathroom. I'll give you $40 worth of tokens. So the kids,
what the fuck?
Chuck E. Cheese tokens for arcade games.
How old was this kid? I didn't know that.
I don't remember
16,
exactly.
I think he said.
16?
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
Oh, he was 17.
Because he basically, the way that...
13.
Yeah, the ages went from 12 to 16. He was 17. He was 17.
I thought he said he was 16.
Bro, can someone post a picture?
Wait.
Post a picture
the guy
of
we're
him.
talking about right now, the story, the dick size thing, that guy's 17. But the kids involved...
That's so grossly inappropriate.
but the kids involved were 12 to 16. But this particular story, he was 17.
Yeah.
Can someone post a picture of what the dude looks like? The Mr. Wiz guy? Go on.
Humps to the best earlier though, but
yeah, just to basically wrap it up. At the time, the kid was like, he didn't in his story. He said he didn't seem to mind it much, but I just want to like another adult came in after it all went down, and the guy after giving him 40 tokens, he was like, yeah, I just got $40 worth of tokens, and another adult was like, yeah, $40 worth of tokens for a night of jerk off material for that guy, and then that's when he realized he was gay and he was getting off on this stuff. And it was horrible, basically. So yeah, he was just exchanging tokens for weird, fucking sexual acts.
That is just.
This
There's
whole
so
time,
many
I think it was
layers
like
to
another
that.
like I thought it was like it doesn't make it any better, but I thought it was like another like woman's sexual harassment. Like I didn't realize he was like.
I think there might have been more, but like again, so much shit happened last night. I couldn't even keep up with it.
So the thing with Mr. Wiz is that this individual story is just this one guy that's come out. But he mentioned the amount of other kids that were in and out. They were mostly boys, but there was one girl that was involved. But he didn't go into details what happened with her. But this is literally just one person. So there's probably hundreds of other stories you haven't heard about Mr. Wiz in particular.
In case you were wondering what happened to Evo, this guy's canned. He's gone. Evo has a new CEO, and they canceled this year and are refunding everyone who signed up for online or whatever.
Fuck.
I'll be surprised if Evo even recovers from this period.
That's a rough. That's a rough loss.
You know what's important when there wasn't as many like fighting game tournaments, but so many fighting game tournaments are better. Like Combo Breaker's been better for years. We don't need Evo. Fuck that.
Like Lotus Evo, not a thing, but the people who actually go to Evo and like fight there and win the prize and stuff, they hate Evo already.
Yeah.
They don't like Evo as a
Even
tournament.
the players that great to begin with. There's a lot of issues with Evo, but that's probably like one of the biggest issues to kind of just like be like the tip on the iceberg of like what's wrong with Evo. But
yeah,
that's probably like a whole other issue with like competitive gaming and esports. But like in general, like that is disgusting.
Now, my question to you guys, right? Because you got Bandai, Capcom, and even NetherRealm pulling out. Do you think in a year or so those bonds could be repaired? Do you think that's it?
No, they definitely can be, but that's why we need to keep holding them accountable and not forget this shit. Time passes and people go back like nothing ever happened.
I just want that as long as Joey's working there, they're not going to work with him. So that kind of presents the option that if Joey isn't there, that they'll come back. So I think as long as Joey's not there, that Evo will still be okay, kinda. I mean, it is right that there are other tournaments like Capcom Cup or whatever, and Combo Breaker and other things. There's a lot more, and now that Dragon Ball Fighters has their own kind of circuit thing, there's definitely bigger stuff. But Evo's always been like the Super Bowl. It's always been like everyone's always just been to that. But the fighting game community is not just limited to that anymore. I think that it can do more than that. But we'll see.
This guy's Evo co-founder. So like to me, at least, and I'm not in the business, I wasn't around obviously, but like there's no way other people higher up didn't know he was doing this shit. Right? Crazy to think that?
Yeah. It's very possible. It just depends on if he has done this while he was with Evo. Because I think when this stuff originally occurred, it was like 20 years ago. Before, I might be wrong on this. I might be wrong, but I know it's 20 years ago. I just don't know if that is before or after Evo. I forgot the chronological order of when Evo started. So if he did this shit when he was like in his early 20s, and then he founded Evo and never did it again, then I can see how people may have missed it. But if we find out he continued to do this while he was running Evo, then yes, there's no way someone did not know behind that.
With how big Evo is and with how people of all different ages show up, I can't imagine he was just like not continuing this sort of behavior.
It's very possible he did, and if he did, I think someone knows, one of his partners or someone knows about it.
Right,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna mute real quick to watch this video, so I'll be gone like 2 seconds.
There's so many fucking stories to tell, like, and this guy, let me tell you, he used to pay fucking little boys tokens to jump in the pool. Now you tell me, what is the story behind asking a kid to do something like that? Why would you ask a fucking child? We're talking like a kid. There's a kid named Token Boy. This kid was like, I don't know, I want to say like 13.
I mean, I guess you guys can't see the video in full proportion when I do that. I apologize. Here, let me do this. That's how I have the thing sized and what have you.
Stories to tell, like, and this guy, let me tell you, he used to pay fucking little boys tokens to jump in the pool. Now you tell me, what he's giving these kids tokens to take off like their shirt and jump in the pool and shit, dude. Like, what the fuck is up with that shit, dude? You can add. There's a prominent member from the FGC. I'm not gonna say names. There's a prominent member from the FGC that everybody grew to love that's no longer here. You should know who I'm talking about, but I don't need to fucking bring it up. He asked Wizard for E3 tickets. Thank you, Mike Infinite. He asked Wizard for E3 tickets. Wizard in turn said, do 25 naked fucking jumping jacks and I'll give you tickets.
Holy
Who in
shit.
the fuck? Who in the fuck asked someone to fucking do shit like that? Like, come on, man. That shit ain't fucking.
Which is why it's dangerous for us to have like the I don't really believe you. I need to like wait till like the law gets like that type of shit is like why we don't get
How
more.
do you not trust the law with your own life? But don't trust
Wait, what's the context?
Speaking of law, I want to know, like, with people like Wiz literally admitting to this shit, what happens next? Like, did the cops
When the
arrest them?
victims need to press charges, right?
Yeah, the victims need to press charges.
Even if they do, it's like law is very stupid with these kind of things. So
Yeah,
even
that's
if
what I
you
mean.
get
Like statute.
It is too, because I think like sexual assault, like I don't know what it is when it comes to minors, but isn't sexual assault like 10 years or something like that? If you
Okay, that's
don't.
not even the issue. The issue is that even with substantial evidence, like these cases oftentimes just get thrown out.
Well, yeah,
And then you're
for sure.
talking about things that happened like 20 years ago. Like, how the fuck are you even supposed to prove something
especially
like
with how much money bro probably has now. Like, you're taking this to court against him. Like, you might as well just. And real fast, I saw a lot of folks in chat saying like "fuck 2020," and as much as I want to agree with that, I want you guys to make sure you don't dismiss this as just being a bad year, and being a year we need to learn from. And being a year we need to focus on how important this actually is, because obviously all of our mental health are probably getting battered every fucking day, but we need to see that being uncomfortable is the first step to getting back to not being uncomfortable, and not just dismissing these things as just they're just acting that way. We have to ignore it and just move past it. This year sucks, but it's important.
I agree with that.
We need to focus on this.
Facts.
Like,
I was talking about this about like with Toasty or something earlier, but yeah, if you started the timeline or if you were to start everything from today, like you can't change the past, everything in the past is there. If you start everything from today or 2 or 3 days ago, literally the best possible thing that could have happened was everyone coming out with their stories and us being able to get these people the fuck out of here.
You know, bro, you know what scares me, bro? You know how many like every month fucking there's a video about the 13-year-old prodigy in Smash Bros community. Like, imagine what could happen to these impressionable young kids that are getting all this attention in this community with these people still existing. You know what I mean? The
That's been a
senpai and
very
shit
big
like that.
contention because a lot of
You know
like,
what I mean?
yeah, because like, now I know all this stuff with Zero's not like completely out yet, so I don't want to like go ahead and say whatever, but like Zero's made videos with these competitors, and I'm not even saying there's anything malicious behind that, but they do get a huge following. Like one kid ended up getting like, I think something around like 20 to 30,000 followers on Twitter for being like,
exactly.
Like, this is a child with 20 to 30,000 new eyes on him. And when the community leaders, like this kid 100% was probably watching Nairo on Twitch.
Facts.
Like that is fucking scary, man.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be Zero doing it. You know, he can be completely innocent.
I just used as an example. That's not.
But yeah. No, I'm backing your point. Like the platform that you're getting put on right there, that is the world looking at you. You know how many Discords and Twitters, how easy it is to access people nowadays? Like, it's fucking scary. Because there are a lot of young kids in the Smash scene that are like not just like up and comers or whatever. They're like getting the attention from every single fucking person.
Yeah,
you know, it's scary, bro. Like, so that's why I'm glad this is happening in particular.
Not even just for like the sexual harassment case, like even for like the Black Lives Matter. Like this whole year is just like about airing out shit that needs to be aired out going forward.
We're seeing progress, bro. Like that's what's great. Like this is the first time like Black Lives Matter has been around for a while. People have been like the Me Too movement has been around for a while, but it's finally at a point right now where it's like everything is like we're finally having change. And low key, as fucked up as it is, like I think we have to like thank COVID for this. Niggas is home. We don't have shit to do, but we see all this. So it's like, well, fuck it. Like you're forced to look at it. Like there is no going to work, going to school, going out with your friends, going to the club. Like there's none of this to distract you. You have to look at it right in its eyes. And I think it's been painting a clear picture for a lot of people. And we're finally instituting real change. And like I'm happy it's happening.
Yeah, I wanted to jump back really fast.
Same thing. Really kind of wild a little bit, but I just want to say that.
What'd you say?
I think COVID's a little bit wild.
I mean,
the thing is, like, being quarantined.
It's just the unfortunate because. Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
Also, like us being quarantined has definitely had like a huge mental strain on a lot of people. Like being able to stay. So with all this civil unrest and then this on top of this, and then like you're just hearing so much shit piled up on. Like I think it's like a breaking point for a lot of people.
Yep.
Anyone who's been alive more than 7 years, this has got to be the most taxing year of their life. For almost
absolutely.
Toasty, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the shit earlier because it got posted in here, but nobody really talked about it. It was the Nairo thing. Like, so like when last night when it first came out, he quote tweeted the original tweet and said that it was false and shit, and then he deleted that tweet and then came out this morning and said that he did it and shit. And I'm like, I still see people like defending the Ashland, but like his first instinct was to immediately deny it. Like, and obviously we know exactly what he did to keep him quiet. So I'm like, I just don't. For a lot of the people on Twitter, I don't get that mentality.
The defense is always going to happen because it's just like you like this creator, right? So it's like people aren't going to think rationally or logically about situations. It's going to be like, yo, not my guy. Nope, not happening. Not listening.
People who think they know Nairo, like I was talking about earlier. Like,
like the fucking.
The people that are defending Nairo are saying like, well, Zach was very aggressive towards him. Like Zach initiated the whole thing. Now, I don't know about y'all. We can all have a roundtable discussion. A 15-year-old puts their head on my chest. I'm gonna immediately be like, get the fuck away from me.
100%. 100%.
No matter what you think, 15-year-olds just cannot consent.
Minors can't consent. Minors can't consent.
Right,
100%.
exactly. Like, I don't give a fuck how forward the minor is. As the adult in the situation, it's up to you to diffuse it. Like, get that whack ass defense out of here.
No, the idea of even talking to an 18-year-old is repulsive to me.
Right. Like, I don't have nothing.
We have to remember that a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old mentally are the same person. The only difference between those two is the fact that the law says that one of them is legal.
Yeah.
Like,
until you experience real life.
Like, I have nothing to say to you.
Like, we are wired differently for the fact that we, like, that shit is disgusting to us, but, like, for other people, like, they get off to that type of shit. Like,
calling that wire definitely makes me itch,
dog.
bro. It's like, nah, this is how you're supposed to be. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, this is the law. It's like and like, I don't, you're kids. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it, bro.
If you deal with, like, the law and technicality, some people be like, well, it's legal in Japan. It's like, nigga, like,
you're not in Japan. That's freaking dumb.
That shit is just excuses that people like
fuck where is
use as weapons.
People throw out the legal
capacity.
Yeah.
Just because Japan's doing fuck shit don't mean we gotta do it too.
Yeah.
Like,
Omega tweeted about it earlier. The fucking like you shouldn't praise somebody, by the way, for being normal. Don't make someone feel better about themselves and getting ego off with being normal.
That's what the fuck I'm saying, bro. Like, I was saying that earlier before I got in here. Like, people were congratulating me for not being X, Y, and Z. Like, everybody's getting exposed for. It's like, you know how that sounds, bro? Like, that makes me itch. Like, no, fuck them, bro. Don't congratulate me for doing what I'm supposed to. What you supposed to be doing? Just chilling, not being a fucking freak.
Can I run a test real fast?
Yeah.
I've done this in my chat. I did it in Omega's chat, and I want to put this in perspective for people, right? So people are really shocked at how much is happening right now, and how it seems like everybody's an abuser, right? Like, this shit's crazy. I want everybody in chat who's watching right now, in every stream, to press 1 if you yourself have been a victim of something, of predatory behavior, or someone you know has been a victim. Just press 1. I just want you to press 1 if you know somebody or you yourself are a victim. And I want everybody to watch the chats across every stream. See how many numbers come in.
let me find somebody's stream to press 1.
Literally every single stream that I'm in has 1 flooding the chat.
Yeah.
So if you are shocked at how crazy this is, you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't be. It's the amount of victims we know severely outweighs the amount of predators we know. And that is a problem that is internalized and just inherently wrong. And I want you to take into consideration how many fucking ones you see in these chats. It's still going.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to run that real fast.
Absolutely.
It's a great test.
It really hurts to see all those ones.
Every 73 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. Just American. That's
crazy.
That's just sad. Man.
I think one reason too. I want to say this because I've been seeing a lot of people also go on the lines of just like they'll learn later. You don't know this, that, and third. Like redeeming. I think the one thing now I feel like we all kind of will agree on this, but I'm gonna just phrase it in like how I look at it way is like I feel like out of all the things that are redeemable, like predatory behavior such as this, if it's like really egregious, like it's the actual shit to be called a predator for. It's like that's something that shouldn't be forgotten. Like you should act a certain way with that person and have that awareness because the damage that does to somebody, it's like you can't even fathom it. And it's like they have to live with that for the rest of their life. Like they have to live in a state of attacking themselves and all these mental things and not trusting themselves and just having all these issues just in their head. Like it's like you're essentially giving this nigga a demon that's gonna haunt him for the rest of his life. Like that. Yeah. Like that to me, that's worse than death. Like you gotta grow up with that shit. You're gonna change. You're not gonna be able to be a certain way because of that one selfish action that person did to you.
Yeah. And to bounce off that point right there, imagine all these people we're seeing right now watching their abusers and these predators flourish and shine for years after their shit. Not even just being able to live their life as a regular person, but building up brands and being looked at as these star people in these communities. And stuff like that. That is a whole other form of abuse right there. Because you're like throwing your face in front of them for years.
One thing I want to say is like, don't idolize anyone. Like even us. Like even though we have even though we have this stance of like this shit is wrong, like we're still niggas at the end of the day. Like we've all did shit, like obviously not as heinous as like this topics we talked about right here, but like maybe in little ways, like ways that we're probably oblivious to, that we probably hurt people and shit like that. But like we're still human beings, and like to prevent like shit from people putting people on a pedestal such as this, I need you to take everyone at face value because this is only the persona or the side of the streamer or content creator that you see on these platforms. You don't know any of this dark shit that you see behind you. Like I said, probably a lot of us, I would like to think a lot of us, maybe not, aren't like as crazy as like the stories you said it was shown here today. But that goes without saying, like we're still humans who make mistakes, and nobody is just clean,
Right.
I stole a Vegeta action figure when I was 10 years old from Walmart.
That's crazy. How could you cancel them now?
I stole some first edition Pokemon cards in like the 7th grade, and they were Japanese.
Bro, why is this a stitch? Why y'all snitching on yourself, bro? Relax. Relax. Y'all 6ix9ing in my fucking. No, it's good.
I wanted to say before we got too far away from it that anyone who didn't put a 1 and just saw everybody else do it, I just wanted to point out that like there's also really high odds that even if you don't think you know anyone who has been involved in any kind of assault like that, you probably do, and they just haven't said anything yet. Like the amount of required.
Yeah.
Or you yourself might have gone through something and don't even realize it. A lot of people, including me, have read stories and read people's like experiences, and been like, "Oh shit, I got abused too." Fuck, like you don't sometimes don't even realize it.
Yeah,
until somebody else
more like
speaks up.
emotionally or verbally. So it doesn't have to always be sexually, chat.
Even the J-Tail shit is like, it's a matter of grooming. You don't understand what's happening until maybe after the fact. Maybe like a couple of years, like, oh shit, I was in this situation. I didn't even realize it. Like, you don't even have like the wherewithal of what's happening in the moment when shit like that is going on, you know?
The amount of footlongers that I've seen come up where it's like I was 15 and I absolutely had no idea at the time that I was being abused, and I just heard someone else's story and realized it was me now at the age of 23 or something like that. Like,
so a lot of these stories happened in like 2015, 16, 17. The shit with Mr. Wiz was in 1996.
That's crazy.
1996, bro. Like,
all right.
What happened last year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
shit was happening right now.
Exactly. Like, you know, nothing is sacred, bro. Like, don't expect anything from anybody, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
At this one, I feel like I'm really comfortable talking about it. I've talked to Toasty about this before, but when I was 16, I dealt with being sexually abused by an older woman that used to live around the area. And it got to the point where I started blaming myself for not liking it, because as the niggas that would be around me, they're just like, nah, man, like, you know, you're supposed to like it. It's fine. Like, yeah, it's sex. You're quote unquote, you're a man now. Like, that was the thing. So eventually it was just like, you know, like, yeah, I wanted it. Even though I said no at the time, even though I kept saying no, it was still one of those things where, it's one of those things where eventually when you start thinking about it more, you just kind of come to the realization, you're just like, yeah, that actually happened. This isn't right. It's, and depending on the people you have around you, you'll just have, the friends that I had at the time was, when I remember confiding in one of them, their first response was, but did you like it?
Yeah, no.
So it's like, after that, and I can't go to therapy to deal with this because I guess I just had a bad string of luck. Karma just wasn't on my side because 2 different therapists also decided to use that as a chance to prey on a 16 to 17-year-old kid.
Wow.
Like that's crazy. One lady, every time I would go there, she would do the same thing. And eventually, I just was like, I don't feel comfortable doing this anymore. And she recommended me to somebody else who also did the same thing. So
what the
at that point, it just kind of stuck in my head that it was just like, all right, this is just normal to me at this point. It's just like it's just sex and conversation are it's just same thing. Everything is just this is just how it's supposed to happen. And it led me to a lot of dark places. A lot of stuff that I've done I am still not proud of to this day. But at the same time, it's one of those things where as time went on and the more time I spent thinking about it, instead of just trying to suppress it and push it away, or you kind of just, it lets you grow. And I never felt comfortable talking about this because this happened like 2013, 2014. At that point, it's just like, it's whatever, it's old news. But it's never going to go away. It's going to eat at you.
Yeah. You never outlived that shit.
That shit has been eating at me for it still eats at me to this day. I'm still getting used to it.
I'm sorry you went through that, man.
Same.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, bro.
Sorry. Yeah.
And like the fact that like the like you tell me like you try to go to people for help and then they too like abuse that like that is sick.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I still have problems with physical contact to an extent. Like if it's too long, I spaz out. I think it was last year. And the girlfriend that I'm with now, Jess, we were like maybe just started talking. She came to visit me. I think one night we were just like sleeping in bed or something, and I guess she like held me the wrong way. It was just a normal like, let's just cuddle and go to sleep thing. And I guess she held me too tight or the wrong way, and it woke me up, and I just yelled and spazzed and like fell out of my bed screaming. Like there's still certain things I still can't do normally or interact with normally that other people get to do. Like granted, I'm a bit better at it now. Like if somebody hugs me, I'm not out here like, you know, having a conniption.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's still one of those things where it's just like anytime I hear stuff like that, I just like I get angry, I twitch, I cry. Like it's rough, man.
It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, bro. We all believe you, bro. And that shit was fucked up. There's no nothing. It wasn't your fault. None of that, bro. We all believe you and love you, bro.
Fact.
None of that. No questions about it, bro.
And then like that's just like that's just like.
We're proud of you, bro. You didn't have to do that.
Right, you didn't have to share that, but you did, and we definitely we love you for that, bro.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, you're stronger than me, man.
I couldn't do that, bro. I couldn't. You're a god, man.
It takes a lot for a man to come forward and say that he's been harassed or sexually assaulted by a woman because of how toxic men can be towards other men.
Everybody in the chat got your back, bro.
I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all really.
Everybody got you, bro.
Fuck it. Now the chat should be flooded by one, so now you know how I'm like literally, like you know someone.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
It's all love, bro.
Not that there's positives necessarily to come out of the whole Senpai situation, but it was nice to see that many people believing a guy when he came out, because that's not always the case, especially with men in particular. Like, on that, I mean, we talked about it before, like, the people who were like, oh, he should like it and stuff like that, like those turbo weirdos. But to see as many people come out and support Puppet like they did was really nice.
Yeah, and I think that is a very good kind of reality check to people to understand that men go through this as well. I know a majority of it is women, but men definitely still go through it, and sometimes it can be a harder road because nobody is going to care if a man gets sexually assaulted. Like going to the cops, a lot of the normal people, they say, oh, you should have liked it, or come on, man, you're a guy. You were able to fuck this girl. You should be happy. Even on what's his name, Pape's Twitter, when he made his claims, so many people were like, "What? Senpai's hot, bro. You should have done that. You should have enjoyed it." And that's not the type of narrative that we want to spin for that type of environment. Because I know for a fact, right? If I had a son and he got sexually assaulted by a woman, I would definitely be in jail the next day.
Furious.
I am not. I would never in my life want a child or my son or anybody to go through any type of sexual activity with someone when they should not be doing it. That's terrible.
And bro, to like bounce on that statement, I was talking to a Meg about this yesterday. Like, I know if all of the niggas in here, or just in general, that had the internet or Twitter, just specifically Twitter, 3 or 4 years ago, whenever a lot of those like stories would come out about the teachers that were involved with like their students and shit, I vividly remember seeing viral tweets of like grown ass men saying, "I wish that was me," or where were these to these teachers and whenever I was in school and shit like that, you know? And that like mentality gets perpetuated like every generation. I heard that from niggas in my circle too, like niggas older than me, and like just all that shit, because we're brought up thinking that sex, no matter what, is cool.
Yeah,
like, you know, and getting an older woman, you're that nigga. Like you're like that's an even bigger accomplishment to get somebody your own age. And that is so fucking backwards.
It's a very young mentality. I've also had friends in my circle when I was younger, like in the lower 20s and whatnot. Whenever we would hear about cases where very beautiful teachers would be caught having sex with like 15-year-old football players or something like that in the school, and they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing, man? That's like, why would you snitch? Yada yada yada." But that's not the mentality you want to have. That's a very narrow-minded, very very immature mentality.
I could be.
Hey, wait, hold on. After you good, bro? To keep going, or
I'm good.
Was you sure?
Mm-hmm.
We can cut this shit right now, bro. Or move subjects. Are you sure you solid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So make sure, bro. We can change topics or just do something different. Because I don't want anybody to,
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable or triggered.
Nah, just keep on going.
My last thing is that just don't expect it to be like. Don't expect the Band-Aid to be over after all like this weekend or however long this shit lasts. Don't expect it to all be over. Just now it's just gotta make sure that like shit gets outed. Like, because these shits are old. These shits are from like 2016, 2015. Like the Wiz shit's from like 97 or whatever. Like, this shit needs to be outed. Like, this shit needs to be out there. This shit can't be hidden for years and people are getting to thrive off their platforms even though they've abused it. That shit should be allowed.
That energy you put into saying fuck 2020, put that into saying fuck these people and fuck these organizations and these outlets that allow people to continue to do this. If you want to say fuck 2020, say fuck these predators, fuck these abusers, and fuck these communities that allow this shit to keep happening. The year is not the problem. Exactly.
This is gonna sound weird, but like I hope that this is just the beginning because like I feel like we're lucky. This is 10% of the stories that actually exist that have come out.
I'm pretty sure there's more people in that inner circle in the Smash community that's gonna get outed.
Like, we're lucky in the whole gaming industry side of things, or in general. Like we're lucky if this is the first 10%. You know what I mean? Like Like, as long as these are coming out, we keep getting people the fuck out of here for that shit. Like that's what I'm here for.
Well, the thing is, like the beauty. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the beauty of the situation we're in right now, we're in the age of like the internet, and we have a platform. Like a lot of these times, like a lot of these victims, they didn't have a place for them to like share their stories. It was literally just go to school, go home, and like go back to their fucking like antenna TVs. Like after some shit has happened at school, like now we have a platform for them to actually like voice this shit. So it's a lot more accessible. So we have like the tools, and we're gonna start seeing a lot more people. Because it's a lot more easier for someone to come forward and get like the eyes on it.
Twitlongers didn't exist. What do they do? Post on the town bulletin board before?
Like, it's
the police aren't gonna fucking help them. Go look at the stats. Look at the stats. They speak for themselves, bro. Like what do you do?
I wanted to pick it back off of what Keith said about like the differences between if it's like an older man and a younger girl, between like if it was like a quote unquote hot teacher and a student. I could have like a couple years ago, I think it was like Saturday Night Live, like they had like Ronda Rousey on or something. They did that skit with Pete Davidson where it was like the two teachers having like sex with like the younger student, and they were all like making jokes about it, and it was like, you have the crowd reaction, everybody's laughing. And like thinking back on it now, it's just like I don't like none of that was actually funny because like a bunch of that shit actually happens, and the way they were going about it seemed like they were trying to normalize it a bit. It was like, lucky teenager making jokes about like having sex with his two teachers, funny skit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's still up. It's very regular. It's been a very regular thing in our culture.
Yeah, the issue about making jokes like that is like people will be like, oh, it's just jokes, like don't let comedy die or whatever. The problem is that has like serious implications because of things like that. Abuse victims don't speak out. Like I've alluded to it a couple of times on my stream with my own abuse stories, and unfortunately I'm not as strong as Ham. I'm not able to talk about that yet. At some point I think I will be, but today is not that day. But regardless, like a big reason why I can't talk about my shit is because it's so ingrained in me, because it was ingrained in society for a while that like if a woman like has sex with me, I should be thankful. I should love that. Or even like my situations where it was an older man that took advantage of me. Like in that situation, it's like that's embarrassing. And I talked about this on my stream before. And like when I was 10, because of how toxic masculinity actually is, that's not just a buzzword you hear on Twitter, it's a real thing. Because of how toxic it is and how crazy the jokes were, like everybody would say, oh, you're gay, that's gay, that's gay. My biggest concern when I was 10 about a grown man taking advantage of me was that people were going to think that I was gay. That was my number one concern. If that to you doesn't make you sick, then like there's just nothing to talk about anymore with you, because at that stage, like these little harmful jokes that you poke fun at, it has serious ramifications towards actual victims.
Correct.
I had actually forgot, but like junior high, early high school, that really was it. Like that.
Yeah.
Slammed for being gay, like that would people would lay into people for that, and like nobody who they were saying that to was gay, but it was just how hard they would.
It was just like in just regular speak. Like I honestly I get the timing because I think we all, if we played Xbox, we all lived through that shit, you know.
Not even just Xbox. Honestly, it was very much so real life. It was,
play on the playgrounds, everything. Like that was just the language.
So Afro stepped away. I don't know how y'all want to handle this going
what
forward.
happened? Did I miss something?
I think it's a lot.
No, it's like probably processing something. You know, but I just don't know how I want to keep going forward with this conversation. That's up to y'all.
Well, personally, when Afro gets back, I think we move to a topic that's a little bit more intense. Was The Last of Us 2 a good game or not?
I'm head out.
I think we've just been very hard today, and we've been very real today, and it's just weighed pretty heavy. So I wouldn't mind switching to a different topic.
And off on the haymaker.
Yeah. On that though, I'm glad you brought that up because I do have to exit to go finish Last of Us 2.
Hey. I'm very sorry that you have to experience
Love it. Absolutely love
Remember, if you don't like it, you're stupid. Remember that. If you don't like it, you're dumb. But remember,
I don't think that if you didn't like it, you're stupid. I think maybe you just have to brain dead child. You know what I mean?
Wow, shots,
Real talk though. What I wanted to say, I kind of put the nail in the coffin of this conversation. At this point, the only niggas I trust are the niggas that I know. And that is the niggas I surround myself with. And I feel like at this point, we're gonna have to create our own fucking internal Evo, or our own internal goddamn competition. Whether or not Omega hosts it, I know you do your tournaments every now and then, whether the Moon hosts it, whoever hosts it. But I feel like the only way I think people are gonna feel safe and trusted in these spaces is doing shit ourselves, running our own tournaments. You know what I mean? Like having our own shit going, because we have the resources and entertainment to do it. Like we all funny, we're all talented, we all got the communities to do it.
That's the checklist beginning to end. If you want to make a change in something like, I know I'm not a chef, I'll do this. Like
right, exactly. I feel like we got to start doing some weekly or monthly shit, bro. Like something.
But even so for that, like even if it's having community, it's about being diligent to not allow people such as that enter in the community, and that's going to take a level of diligence on our part, you know.
I'll throw a bitch out the window, bro. Fuck these niggas.
It's really no problem to hold you, bro. Like for real.
I swear to God, I'll drop kick a nigga in his chest if I ever get some kind of win. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's a lot.
I kind of alluded to before, like even like the Shane Dawson shit, like niggas just be different, dog.
No, so that's what I was gonna say, that when we were talking about like jokes and like what's up, because I'm always kind of like, most of the time I'm like, it's a joke, you got to go with it, like, you know, humor exists, people have different, but like people were saying that about the Shane Dawson thing, and I'm like, bro, if you're making jokes about banging underage girls and no one looks at you and goes, hey bro, come on, like that's a problem. Like,
the beat off to Willow Smith was just not.
She was 11 at the time, bro. 11.
That's just fucking disgusting.
Like I get he tried to make jokes for shock factor, but that was just not okay.
But that's what I mean. Like there's making jokes for shock factor, and then there's making jokes where you're like, all right, bro, come on. Like that's not. No.
Way too much. Who has I have a rather decorated past with making terrible fucking jokes. This extends, like any sort of horrible, offensive, terrible joke you can think of. I've probably made it at some point in my life, right? The important thing is how you treat that situation and how you've grown from it, right? So there's a lot of people, like when I made those jokes, like the majority of them, I'm very young, and I surrounded myself with people who were like-minded, so I went unchecked for a while. Thanks to streaming and meeting more people and seeing the ramifications of the things that I say, I was able to self-assess and be like, okay, well, I'm just like a literal horrible human being. because again, like you have to understand the implications that jokes have. They go beyond jokes.
Fact.
So
I agree. Yeah,
I did a lot of self-searching, and I looked within myself, and I was like, okay, this is not the person I want to be. So then I changed my behavior. Simple as that.
This is why I don't really like cancel culture, because it doesn't allow for like shit like that to happen. You know, like
you can't grow anymore. You're just
like
done.
yeah, because it removes and erases.
Real quick, the cancel culture term is just soiled. I don't like that anymore.
No, I don't like it because
I never liked it.
I don't like because it literally assumes that no one has never progressed. Like they can't make a mistake. Like I said earlier, like don't look for any of us as like role models because like
the problem with it.
Wait. Can I say something about that real fast?
Sure.
I'm all for somebody making a mistake and then learning from it, but it depends on what that mistake is. Something like the whole Mr. Wiz thing. You don't get a second chance with that.
Of course, there's a lot of stuff where people. I'm saying, like literally, people are just talking, like canceling people for like a tweet they made from like 10 years ago.
Like, Omega's like jokes, like you know, because like back then, like you know, like edgy jokes. Like I thought, like I was more so talking about like. You know, like edgy jokes at the time you had to said something or done. I'm not really talking about like abusing someone like that. I don't know.
But here's the thing. Here's the issue with that. People are conflating the two. They're saying that cancel culture is why Nairo doesn't have a career, the same way that they're trying to say that Kevin Hart was a victim of cancel culture. First of all, cancel culture has never canceled anybody. Who the fuck got their tweets dug up and now doesn't have a career? I'll wait for an answer because it just doesn't exist.
So, because really, if you cancel yourself,
the only time it works is if you yourself stop,
or you go to jail.
Like I was bringing up the situation of Nappy because people were talking about like cancel culture earlier. Like Nappy was uploading videos as frequently as a month ago. They all had a minimum of 15,000 views. You're telling me being canceled means I can get 15,000 views a video? Cancel me.
Well, even when he came back,
1,000 views.
Even when he came back, there was hashtags in like the Twitch chat. He was like, "Nappy did nothing wrong." Blah blah blah. I was like, "What?"
That shit. There was one specific person with
scenarios, right? There's like someone dug up that back in 2011 you may have used the other F word on Twitter, and that's like now they're trying to cancel you for that, even though you may not have used said word in the last 9 years, right? But being a fucking pedophile, that's not cancel culture. That's getting
Can somebody give me what is canceling somebody?
Hey boys, I gotta head out. I appreciate y'all having me for real.
No
problem, bro. I love y'all for real. Thank you for coming through.
I also just deplatform for like any type of sponsorship, any type of voice they
deplatformed
for space.
Who's been deplatformed?
Nobody. No one.
That's what I think. So what is canceling somebody?
I would probably say it's Harvey Weinstein, but that's about it.
Because he's arrested. He's in jail. That's why it works.
Hold up, wait. Because people have been banned from Twitch. This round of outings of people doing their Twit longers, people actually have started to get banned from Twitch.
Yeah, that's
but they're predators.
But they've been.
So why are we calling that cancel culture if it's the same thing as digging of old tweets?
But like on that, like I don't know, because I think some people, I think there is a problem with like confusing the two, but like going after the same thing. Because like for me, like a real world example, the show is terrible. I know that it's terrible, but I really like the show The Flash. Okay. And the guy that plays Ralph Dibny, Elongated Man or whatever, has been on the show for the last like 3 seasons, I think. And they found some tweets of his from literally like 8, 9, 10 years ago, I think. And they're definitely edgy. Like they're things that you would not want to tweet today. But at the same time, he hasn't done anything like that for this very long time. He immediately, you could say that publicly, yeah. He immediately lost his job. Immediately from those tweets alone. And I feel like, I don't know, like maybe he is still a terrible person. But just on that alone, he lost his job just on that alone.
That's my thing, right? Because like there are obviously some scenarios where like you can cross a line, right? Like King Nappy, the Smash Bros stuff, anything like that. There are lines that can be crossed that like people should not be allowed to ever come back from. But you are allowed to come back from. If you dug up a tweet of whoever, like Danny, whoever, from 2013 of Danny doing something wrong that wasn't crossing a line, and he hasn't done it since. Like, he's been a better person for the last 7 years. What is canceling him now that he's more or less fixed himself going to do? Like,
So-
what is the goal other than
So
saying
I
that-
agree with that.
So did they fix themselves, or did they just stop being publicly stupid? Because you can't do that anymore.
And you don't.
Were these things addressed before he lost his job? And okay, and another thing, this was how you said 7 years ago. That nigga was still a grown ass man. Was he like 27 or 26? He's like 35.
I mean, you're right. But I'm saying, but also you have to take other things into consideration too. Is like what was Twitter like back then? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not excusing him. I'm not saying that the stuff that he said wasn't like, kind of grotesque and off the wall. And certainly he was going for like this edgy, like, look at me kind of thing. I'm not saying that he didn't do that. I'm saying that based on only what we can see, maybe he did just stop doing it publicly so no one else could see it, but we don't really know that. And for him to lose his job immediately just because people found those tweets, it just seems like,
so
I don't know.
Okay,
you're really
hold on.
you're really starting to blur the lines.
And when was this?
When did he lose his job?
Yes,
like a couple of months ago. Like, it just happened like a month or two ago.
Delete the tweets. Everybody, how many people get their old tweets brought up at this point in time? Actors and comedians and shit.
Well, no, but for sure. But I mean, do you think, like, do you remember everything that you tweeted like 7-8 years ago?
Okay, hold on. Please let me talk. Please let me talk about this. Please, please let me talk about this.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay,
was an awful
so
person.
here's the issue. Here's the issue with this that I have with this, anyways. So this guy gets canceled or removed from the Flash, a few months ago, whatever the fuck, right? Here's the thing about that is that people are saying, oh, he got canceled or he lost his job, whatever. Do you really think this is going to be a situation where this guy's never going to find work again? He's fine. Like that's the thing.
I mean, I don't know. But the way that things are going now, maybe because companies now are going to be like, nah, you just have too much heat on you. Like, we don't want that coming to where we are.
So, see, but when has that ever happened in the past, though? That's my problem.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's changing now?
So
like, I feel like it's getting more and more progressive.
The first time it's ever going to happen is because Stretch Guy from the Flash tweeted the N-word 9 years ago.
No, he didn't tweet the N-word, and I'm just using him as an example.
This isn't going to be the exception.
He was just a real world example of like something that happened because of something he said 7 years ago. That was the only point that I was trying to make.
Here's my concern, and maybe Balvin or Omega or somebody can explain it to me. But if it's like, and I'm just using an example.
Afro, thank you for the raid, everybody.
But if
thank
it's a tweet
you.
from 7 years ago, and it got dug up, and it got like it came out and it got them fired or whatever. Like, if they're actually getting fired and seeing repercussions, even though at least publicly they have been and done and tried to do better for the last 7 years, if you get them out of there or fire them or whatever right now, to me that eliminates the possibility of anyone experiencing growth. You're saying that if you ever fucked up in your life ever, you're done, you're fired, get away from me.
That's
you're saying
yes.
Yes.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, you're basically telling people that if they've ever done anything wrong ever, they deserve to be fired. That's
Look,
it.
I mean, so what happened? So what should happen then?
I don't know. I mean,
it depends on the time frame. Like if it happened, like if the person's obviously changed, like.
Okay, so hold on.
Because here's my thing, right? Like, he's on the show. He's working with all these actors. He's working with a variety of different people, and all of them came out and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I loved him so much. He seemed like such a good guy. I can't believe he would say these things." And so to me, that makes it seem like for the last few years at least, or whatever, while he's been working with these people, they loved him and they thought he was a really good guy. But then all of a sudden they read a tweet from 7 years ago and they're like, "Oh my god!"
Hold on, I don't want to draw parallels here.
But 12 years old.
But hold on, everybody thought D1 and Nairo were good people. Let's not use that as an example. Let me talk.
I know, but
listen,
those are completely different situations, though.
Please let me speak. Okay, listen. As somebody who could very realistically, like, have a twit longer on me tomorrow talking about Omega said this like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, like, that haunts me every day I wake up, because legitimately there is so many things you can look past. Like, I've been on the internet since 2008, and all my whole trace, like, you can see everything from when I was 15 on the internet. It is all out there. I can't hide from it, right? So what would happen? How would I feel if somebody made a tweet or some bullshit that said Omega said this when he was even 21, 22, like a few years ago or whatever? Like, the fact of the matter is that I did say those things. Like, I did do what I did. I should be punished for it, right? Like that's where I'm coming from. If I lose a sponsor because of it, of course, like, it makes perfect sense that a sponsor wouldn't want to work with somebody who had said this in the past, because that's brought up with their name, right? Like, I feel like I've changed a lot for the better, and I feel like I've done my due diligence. But the fact of the matter is I did do those things. So, like, that doesn't exonerate me because it happened like a few years ago or whatever. Like, if something were to come out, all that I can do is own it, take accountability, and continue to prove day in and day out that I'm no longer that person. Because the fact of the matter is that there's no way to prove that I'm no longer that person. And if somebody were to see me say those things, dude, I was like 22, 23 making horrible jokes. I should know better. Like, there's no excuse for that. It doesn't matter how long ago it is. It doesn't matter what society deemed acceptable at that time. It doesn't matter what other bullshit.
But I don't know, because, like, you gotta think of,
when do you start knowing better? Like, as a child, you know, like, you start, like, obviously there's a point of view, like, your adolescence, you're ignorant, you're saying shit, you know, like, but when do you know better, you know? Obviously, when you start growing, and there's a part where, like, there's going to be a point in your life where you switch, like, all right, I've done and said these shit, let me switch up, because obviously, like, I gotta cut this shit out at some point when I want to actually grow up, you know?
Growing up in a rural, sometimes racist area in the Midwest, right? I have actually legitimately seen people who didn't know better until they hit the age of 40. Some people, like I've seen it firsthand, hit 40 and then, like, a light bulb finally went off and something finally clicked, and they just, like, you know what I mean? Like, they evolved as a person, it almost seemed like, but they grew and got better from that. I feel like, while obviously growing up and becoming an adult, like around the 20s, early 20s, is when you kind of hit your quote unquote final form or whatever, as far as all that shit goes. It can happen at any age.
Okay, so that's true, but they still, like, did and said those things. So somebody in my chat just asked me, like, what, like, the thing about it is that why should I be punished today for something that was acceptable years ago? Like, it doesn't matter, like, how. Like, there was a time where a lot of things were acceptable. That doesn't make it okay, though. Like,
yeah. No, you're 100% right. But, like, my only thing is, if you're punishing someone for something that they did that was, you know, it's considered bad nowadays. It might have been considered kind of bad back then. But if it was 7 years ago, like, if I were to have said the other F word live on air somewhere 9 years ago when I started my YouTube channel or whatever, or 7 years ago, however long, and someone found that out the other day, and even if I've never said that word, not even on air, but anytime ever since then, I understand that I don't get to pick how long or what offends somebody or how long they're offended for. I fully understand. But if I've done better every day since then, I feel like some people could interpret that as you're just telling me that there's no point in doing better.
Okay, so I can see that.
Wait. Let me ask you something. How old were you 6 years ago, Thunder?
I was just going off when I started my YouTube channel, which would have been 19. But 6 years ago, I would be 21.
All right. So this guy 6 years ago when these tweets went out was 29 or 30. So you're basically you're 30 years old still making jokes that a fucking 12-year-old would make, if these are jokes, right? Now here's the thing. Like you said, you can't pick and choose, and people get to, you know, how people react to this and that or whatever, right? But my thing is, how will somebody learn, or how will somebody even know what they did was wrong if they never suffer from any repercussions from it?
No, you're right. But if they've been doing better for 7 years,
the fact that they're doing better, that means, yeah, like, if they're doing better, that means, like, they recognize, like, what if they recognize it themselves? Like, what if they take it upon themselves to improve?
But he didn't.
So and then here's the thing. That's also.
Oh, wait, but how do you know? But how do you know that he didn't?
How do you know that he did?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And if you put public things out, you have to publicly recognize what you did.
Okay, so the thing is, it's perfectly reasonable for you to take somebody at their word for something they said when they were 29. They probably like that's beyond like excusable.
If I throw a child out a window 10 years ago, I thought it was okay. In 10 years, but 10 years later, I run a fucking foster care for 10 years. Does that change me?
the severity of the cases we're talking about, like obviously, like abusing.
We have to be. No, I'm trying to be specific with every single thing. If you use the argument of like being better for 7 years,
we have to take them by case basis. We can't just treat everything across the board.
That was also part of my original point. Is what I was saying is that like people are really starting to blur the lines and being like, sure, maybe he should be punished in some way. Maybe he should be. Maybe he should have lost his job or something. Sure. But like, to just immediately go to like he like people are saying like he should never work again, like he should never have another acting job again.
But that's just people who are fake mad. That's
like that's not real. All of the tweets, like the threads of the tweets, like the responses are people that are like furious at this guy.
That's the thing. When anything blows up, there's always like a percentage of people who are louder than the rest who are just fake mad, and they forget the next day and they move on to the next thing. Those people will always be there. The ones who actually care, they'll be mad. They'll either choose to forgive or go on. But like the people who are fake mad, they don't fucking matter. They're just there for like the moment, and then they forget the next fucking day.
Think about the people that
I feel like it's the people that are fake mad that cause the most trouble, because even though it doesn't last for very long, they are the loudest and most aggressive. That make the companies go, oh god, we can't have this guy around here. He's causing us too much trouble.
Only lasts like a day. What about the people that do 10 times worse things and it's publicly out there and still have jobs? It still works.
Like I said,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this guy made a tweet. I'm not. Of course, if he abused a person, that's different.
But here's my point. If there are thousands of Twitter people saying the same thing about 2 different scenarios, here's my thing. The problem that you're making it out to seem is that it's this looming figure that's ruining everyone's life and is getting so bad that we have to like fixate on this problem now. Where it's like this one guy, which I don't agree with the people on Twitter saying he should never work again or whatever. Yeah. I don't give a fuck whether he lost a job or not, because to me, I'm at the point now, if you're in a place of a public figure or personality or whatever, nigga, delete every tweet you ever put out before 2017.
Well, sure, of course.
That's true.
You need to delete every single tweet, because yes, people said dumb shit a long time ago. Right, it's fucked up. But how many people before this have we seen get exposed for bad tweets? Just delete them.
Danny, what did the guy do again exactly?
I don't. He made tweets that were. I don't remember what the tweets were. I mean, they were like.
I have the tweets right.
I don't know his real name.
Any type of atonement for like even like James Gunn, like didn't James Gunn like
James Gunn made pedophile jokes. He made jokes about him being a pedophile.
Like Disney was aware.
Now now
he got everything back, and they hired him back.
Yeah, but
exactly.
Like the thing is, like, there was obviously like an outrage when people, like, I guess it's like a thing with like Robert Downey Jr. Like, more people found he did like Trump and that whole thing, and like they go for that whole cancel culture thing. Like, I guess people found out like James Gunn did that thing, and then like there's outrage, and then like Disney's looking like, oh well, we got to do something. So like, and then James Gunn is like, well, already like you guys knew about this, and like I'm doing my best. Like, obviously it's in the past. I'm sorry, like I was a fuck in the past, you know, and I'm doing my best to like move forward. It's like at that point, like.
Did he got his job back?
Well,
a year later.
But I'm saying in the moment, like that still does damage though in that moment, you know.
But who cares about the moment?
But what moment? He's directing.
He's back. That's what I'm saying. Is that what are the serious ramifications between Stretch Guy not being able to be Stretch Guy no more? Do you really think it's going to make a big difference in the long run? No, because it never has before. That's the point that I'm making, is that you guys can say all you want about cancel culture, and I agree with you. Nobody should be quote unquote canceled for things they said 9 years ago. Of course, people should be allowed to grow. Hell, I just admitted on this very stream that there's a lot of things you can take that I said in the past and use that against me. So of course I would want people to give me the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, this guy can grow. But the fact of the matter is that when has this ever resulted in real ramifications for someone? Never.
Look at Kevin Spacey.
I was about to say
y'all saw what happened.
He did something like way wrong that should never come back. I was going to say that's the difference between Kevin Spacey and this guy.
Has he?
But Kevin Spacey came back and dropped Twitter promos about the shit.
Bill Cosby, like it depends. It's the severity on the case. Like I said, you have to deal with these on the cases. Like Bill Cosby, obviously,
and Bill Cosby wasn't cancel cultured. He raped like 50 women. That's not cancel culture.
That's not. Yeah. Kevin Spacey.
That's beyond cancel culture.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have to be careful when you use that term, because so many people blur the lines with everything. Because I talked about this on my stream one time, and I asked chat who was a victim of cancel culture, and the answers I got ranged from Aziz Ansari to R. Kelly, and I'm like, R. Kelly kidnapped and sexually abused women versus
the pedophile P guy, like.
Yes, so that's my thing. I completely get what y'all are saying, even though some points I don't agree with. My big thing here is that you just have to be careful when you use that term and that whole phrasing, because so many things get called cancel culture nowadays that I feel like accountability is getting wiped away, and everything is being used as a blanket term for quite literally everything. I see that term used every single day.
So that's kind of what my original point was. I guess maybe I didn't say it the right way, but that's what I was trying to say, is that like people are finding out these things, and like Moon is saying, sometimes well, all the time you have to take it on a case-by-case basis, but a lot of times people aren't doing that, and they find these old things and they're just saying, oh, cancel them, and then there's so much outrage, and it's like, okay, well, hold on, like, you know, you fired this guy before he even had time to say, like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like, whether he deserved to be fired or not, you know, it's just like, I don't know. You can't just mash everyone together that's ever made a mistake and punish them the same regardless.
Sure,
like,
but the fact of the matter is that they have made a mistake. It's up to the public and whoever supports them or endorses them or gives them a job to do with that information whatever they want to.
Because look, do you think the Flash's ratings would have got hit that bad by 3,000 Twitter accounts?
That's the other thing. Like,
I mean, but clearly they thought it would. I guess I don't know.
Enough people threw a fit about James Gunn that he got fired. Enough people stopped fucking caring that he got rehired.
Like, in hindsight, yet he came out on a better like. But what like, it's easy in hindsight to like look back. Like he got his job. He's in a better position now. But like in that
James Gunn's a good example of the people who are fake mad, because like when he got rehired, I didn't see anybody say shit about that.
Nobody cared.
I did. What? I think, but no. I saw people.
The general masses, that the people that were like are initially canceling him, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, like we were wrong on him." Like, no, they went about their day, look for the next person to cancel. For us, that's probably in the movie sphere. Like, yeah,
but the problem is you have to point out who you're talking about, because now we're just talking about.
We talked about like the vocal minority. That's what we were always talking about from the jump, and I think we should be very clear on what we're talking about, because that's how we got in a situation of it's getting like the whole term of cancel culture has been getting skewed and blurred to the fact that we're kind of right now just talking about a whole bunch of stuff that has been brought about cancel culture, but I don't think should even be considered as cancel culture, you know?
I want to point out real quick that I actually love these conversations, and I'm specifically asking like Valvin and Omega questions because I'm trying to get better insight on a thing, and I'm not mad at my homies.
Yeah, for sure. Oh no, absolutely.
All y'all
facts. It's all for education, bro. Real shit. I'm down to hear your guys' perspective and share perspectives.
If I raise my voice, I'm passionate. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, and I see. I see where y'all are coming from. I just think like with me and Omega's like point of view is just like the way people talk. I feel like the people that complain about the term cancel culture gave cancel culture more power than it ever had.
Yeah,
facts.
Because when you see the amount of tweets that go out and all these different things, and now like even one of the biggest streamers on the platform was talking about cancel this and cancel that, right? He's getting canceled, never gonna have any fun anymore. Like my life has been the same, and ever since this whole cancel culture thing has been brought up, right? And the point I like to make with this is the vocal minority, people on Twitter, the outrage that happens, the backlash that comes from it, and all this and that is like the reason why I bring up people like James Gunn or Kevin Hart or whoever else got like tweets and old things brought back and still came back and just lived their life as they regularly do and probably are doing better than how they were doing before. I just don't understand why people act like it's this problem that's just so dangerous. And it's hurting so many lives, because I see more people talk about cancel culture than I see people talk about actual like problems in the world and people actually doing fucked up shit and not getting held accountable for it.
I think you're right in the sense that like if it had a backbone, it would be dangerous, but it's not. But I think that's the idea. Is like someone gets called out for something, you know, some tweets that they made 7 years ago or whatever, and then now they don't all of a sudden. And because it doesn't have a backbone, they're basically almost always fine, and they find another job and they're okay. But the idea that like if that ever gained ground, people would just be, you know, despite however good they've been the past 6 years, they did the thing 7 years ago, and then now they're just fucked. And I think that's.
I guess that my thing is that like since that has literally never happened once, it's hard for me to sympathize with that point.
Yeah, because I just haven't seen
in like, well, we talked about earlier, like the FGC, like there's some people that like have said some pretty like heinous shit, and then like I've been brought to attention, they get deplatformed, they're dropped from their team, or possibly, you know, the event just says you can't come back. That happened with Zach. Like he recently just got back because he was banned because, you know, like.
I mean, like, all you got to do is like look at Low Tier God, who made transphobic comments a month ago. He gets like fucking 1,000 viewers a stream. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so what is it? Like, what are we really?
Oh, I guess like early Bauman said, what does it mean to quote unquote cancel person? And like for me, in my, I don't even know like what is the definition. How do you successfully cancel? But to me, it's like you deplatform them. You know, like you take away whatever, you know, power or voice that they once had, you know. And for someone like Low Tier God, maybe he's not exactly like canceled because he still has his voice, he still has his platform, he's found other avenues to do so. But like there's certain people that once had a platform and they don't have that platform that they once had, so like they definitely got knocked down a peg.
I think I was talking about this with Dotto last night, but as far as like real life goes, right, in a perfect world in real life, right, someone does some, you know, some awful heinous act, pedophilia, sexual assault, whatever. In a perfect world, they go through the system, they go to jail, they're gone for a while, they literally get eliminated from society. On the internet, there's no perfect scenario, right? Some of these people get banned from Twitch, if we're lucky. But because they haven't made tweets of them being a pedophile, they're still on Twitter. Because they haven't done anything specific on Facebook of them being a pedophile, they're still on Facebook. Because YouTube doesn't give a fuck at all, they're still on YouTube. Like there needs to be some, police is not the right word, especially in today's day and age. But like if you fuck up and you're like turbo pedophile and you get outed and like there's proof and you know just completely wipe these people off the internet, and nothing like that exists right now.
Like I said,
go ahead. Yeah, thanks. My one big thing like yesterday was like that these are like just gamer tag, pretty much just still gamer tags or usernames on a screen. And I think it's really important that you can see like, and I'm sorry to bring it back to this, but all these Smash stuff, like literally posting like I'm a pedophile, and that's just, and it's up to the people that talk to them to almost like, again, policing is not the right word, but to interact with that and to decide like, no, this isn't okay, because in real life they go through the system. And there's a system for that in place, and you can report them to authorities. And yes, like not all, and most of the time, even that doesn't work. And that's kind of why this is such a big deal even now. But especially online, like these people are just going to float around, and it's kind of up to people to point out when they're doing stuff like that, and you know, really make sure they're talking about that.
Exactly why Nappy was able to just come back like nothing happened, because the people who didn't care or don't care are just like, oh, okay, we'll keep watching Nappy videos on YouTube. Like,
and the thing is, you have to realize how big of a vacuum we live in. Like, how many people are really on Twitter? Like, did y'all even know that Twitter like isn't even a profitable platform? There's so many people that aren't even like that don't have Twitter. Nairo could have continued to upload videos, and there's a good chance the majority of those people wouldn't have known what the fuck happened unless they read the comments or something.
If he just turns off comments, he still gets like 100,000 views.
Yeah,
and nobody's
easy,
like,
easy. They wouldn't know.
Well, it depends. Like, it depends. Cause like the James Gunn shit obviously got like picked up by E. Everybody's talking about like this stuff. That, like you're seeing like this stuff on the news and shit like that. But like there's stuff like in the gaming sphere that's obviously just going to be just relegated just to like Twitter, the sphere, like shit like that. And keep in mind, like some of these people, like they have their own self-sufficient platform, which is why a nigga like Keemstar can just grow multiple heads, because he is his own platform. As long as he's able to have a place where people can see his face stream live, he's gonna open his mouth and people are gonna show up. I don't think you can really. Keemstar's been canceled more times than ever, like, but he always has like that.
Keemstar is the perfect example to go against everything y'all was saying, to be honest.
No, because I've made that point too. I was like, I've literally said cancel culture, like the biggest case of anti-cancel culture is Keemstar. Like the fact that that man is still around, like I understand that. I was just trying to get it, like,
bro.
I don't know.
I have never seen someone like Like that man has hit 0 life points so many times and just used Monster Reborn every single time.
Everyone hates him. Everybody hates him.
But he comes back.
I will say this.
See, the thing is, I think everyone does hate him, but the fact is that people still want drama. They want to hear what he has to say.
People don't necessarily fuck with him. They just fuck with like what's happening and like one thing I will say is like I don't like the guy, but when it comes out to like talking about what's happening, he knows how to deliver.
I disagree.
He's entertaining when it comes to it.
Okay, hold on. Let me interject.
But he also lies.
Yeah, I was about to say the reason why he's entertaining is because he intersplices his own narrative into everything. That's why. Like it's a really horrible tactic that he employs, and then he'll go on saying like how he prides himself on always finding the truth and always being 100% unbiased when that is so far from the truth. He's literally shown DMs of himself, like he's tweeted these DMs talking about like essentially like come defend yourself for this or whatever. The most egregious thing he did was give Onision a platform to defend himself. If y'all even know the tip of the iceberg of what Onision has done, he needs to not only be off of YouTube and off of Twitter, off of all these platforms, he motherfucking needs to be locked up. But Keemstar not only interviewed him and let him say his piece on his fucking millions of subscriber channel, then went on Twitter and defended him, saying nobody gave him the chance, nobody listened to his whole story, so everybody just assumes he's guilty. Like this is something that Keemstar has done. This is something he has routinely done for his entire career and will continue to do.
That's my issue with Joe Rogan, but I'm gonna go back to my original point. If YouTube would have just kept fucking banning that guy instead of stopping one time for some reason,
he doesn't own the channel.
That's so ban fucking drama alert.
Loophole bullshit. But
no, I know. I'm just saying that's the loophole, is that it's not technically his channel. He's just on it.
Fuck this guy and just kept banning him, we would not have a Keemstar problem. Like, deplatforming him would have fixed this issue.
Keemstar is like obviously like the golden rule when it comes to like cancel culture does not work. But there's also like, what was that family that was like abusing the children and shit, and like YouTube shut that shit down?
Daddy 05?
That gets shut down. Even like, let's see how.
I mean, it's kind of ironic how Keem can be canceled, but we literally see him cancel Basherverse, and that man never came back. That man actually got canceled
again. That was mainly due to the fact that he legitimately had a complete mental breakdown and then stopped himself. Like, I don't think Keemstar definitely didn't help. Keemstar definitely helped to cause his mental breakdown, but that was all through Basherverse because he was still getting views during that whole thing too.
All right. The only time I can think of that actually seems that it stopped someone is Linemaker. Linemaker tried to come back.
He has a channel still to this day. He uploads every day.
He actually. Yeah, but
like Daddy 05, that's like probably like the only I can think of. I have to see what happens with Shane because YouTube apparently demonetized all 3 of his channels and shit. We'll see how that works out, but we'll see.
Daddy 05 was the family vlog, and their kids got taken away. Some of at least one of them.
Yeah.
Like, the main kid got taken away, so like that actually was a full on.
Also, J Station got canceled.
It depends on the case,
Yeah, I think there are cases where there isn't like a crime committed, just some really shitty behavior, and then there's actual crime committing.
Facts,
so if there's shitty behavior, then that's a cause for cancel culture. If there's a crime, then that's in a whole different category.
Facts.
Is it only called crime? Some people get off with it. Like J Station literally did commit a crime by pretending.
Is it only called cancel culture because it's the internet?
Yeah,
I think it's just a dumbass term that somebody invented.
Wait, also, hold on, real quick. To Toasty's point, are you saying that J Station was successfully canceled?
No, he came back. I'm saying that
okay.
I was the other way because he just made another channel after YouTube demonetized his main one.
Okay, that's what I was gonna bring up if you were saying that. I was just making sure everybody knew that this motherfucker is still up to his old bullshit.
Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna say, what happened? Like, what was it called before the internet? Like, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I don't think it would have existed before the internet because stuff couldn't spread as fast as it does now.
Neighborhood Watch.
But that's my thing is like Okay, so the reason why I particularly asked what cancel culture was to y'all, as you could describe it, is because I've seen it described 8 million different ways by different people, right? I've seen like mob mentality and stuff like that, right? It's jumping on something that you don't know about and you're just canceling somebody. I've seen the bad mistake 10 years ago, old tweets. I've seen like I just said, not knowing why you're upset, but just being upset because you want to be upset or everybody else is upset, et cetera, right? I can use myself as an example because 2 weeks ago I had tweeted out about the game Little Devil Inside and how it had racist caricatures in the game.
Cloud, Balvin Cloud, yes sir.
If I could show y'all my mentions, everything I tweeted for that week had 300 replies of being told to kill myself. I'm not worth anything. I'm a snowflake. Racist and homophobic slurs. I had videos made about me of a bunch of different channels,
articles
using
ran.
my Twitters, articles, everything. My name was everywhere across the internet. And I had thousands of what felt like thousands of motherfuckers.
Just let us know how clouded the god is.
That was the ultimate clout.
What else? I had thousands of niggas. I had thousands of niggas in my mentions that never saw me before, attacking and trying to deplatform me and say I guess I should lose my channel, I should lose my Twitter. Why are people listening to this guy, et cetera, et cetera. And you think that week I was gonna lose everything, but based on my mentions, bro, everything was over for me. But then like a day passed and I just ignored it and kept living my life. And they're gone now, right? So, and nobody that was jumping on me because they disagreed with what I said or what I did called it cancel culture, because in their view, I was wrong. So in their perspective, it's not cancel culture. But the same people that would attack me are the same niggas that signed the petition to change The Last of Us 2 ending because they didn't like it.
It's me, I'm motherfuckers. No, I'm just
One time I liked something in the Dragon Ball mobile game and everybody tried to cancel me for it. It went on for a week.
So I think I'd have less of a problem with it if it wasn't like weaponized and only used in certain narratives people wanted to use it in. Because I see people use it in whenever they disagree with somebody, but whenever
that's exactly what it is.
I mean,
that's exactly what it is.
So witch trial shit was like, you don't like Sally, like, yo, she can fly on broomsticks.
Bro, people dead ass literally try to cancel me just because I liked something in a mobile game.
I feel like they tried to cancel.
Okay, so I think something that's important is while cancel culture, like, it like whatever it is, there's for sure a community out there that takes any kind of change and have taken like cancel culture and made that a negative. So whenever they see change happening in anything, they call it, oh, it's cancel culture, snowflake bullshit, and they're against it. And that community is, I don't know if I want to say growing, but there's a community of people who are anti-cancel culture. So whenever they see somebody get called out for some shit, or they see like a company get called out for some shit, even without looking at what it is, they're just upset at the fact that somebody's getting called out about some shit, and they're immediately against it and calling it cancel
and
culture.
That's
Maybe
why
even
I
before
was
somebody else calls it cancel culture.
That's why I had such a problem, like, because I understood what Danny and Thunder were saying, and I agreed with like their initial point of, you know, people can grow, like I understand that, but the issue that I had with the verbiage and the words that were used is because that's what people who try to delegitimize everybody who's being held accountable for their actions, like that's what they try to say, like that whole group, that whole community of people, like they're just against anybody being called out, and like that's
keep in mind, the guilty will always try to group themselves in with all the other exceptions. You know, like just we were talking about, like that Skyon guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like this guy." Like, they'll try to like weasel their way and use the same arguments. You know, so that way, that's how it kind of like blurs the shit, because like now we have people for like some like petty shit, and then we have some of the gravity of the shit. They're using the same arguments, and then it just starts clouding the arguments that are made in like in the general vicinity of when cancel culture is brought up, you know?
Well,
I feel like that's the issue.
I think it was like the difference is like because Danny and I, when we talk about that stuff, we obviously have a line. Like
yeah, for sure. Like I know you guys like
2017. Get the fucking Smash community that's doing that shit out of here. Doesn't matter what year, doesn't matter if they've been doing better, quote unquote. Who gives a fuck? Get them out of here. But like where we were talking about, using a word or some words back in 2013 and then nothing since then, like that.
That's the point that I agreed with y'all on. But what I'm saying is that there are people that will take what you guys say and side with you because they think you're on their side. That's the line that I'm trying to draw.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with you on that. I agree it's a case to case thing on that. You do have to be careful there.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful when you use that verbiage. Because then when you say that, niggas gonna be like, oh yeah, because he gonna agree with me on this and this. You know what I mean? Like, because that word and that term has become such a blanket thing that nobody knows what it means anymore.
I think part of it too, though, and I tweeted this out the other night too, is that like there's so much stuff going on right now, and there's a lot of really important stuff going on right now, and then I see these threads of just thousands of people being so angry about like, what he said was wrong, but I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much stuff going on that people could put their energy towards to like actually make things better, and yet here they are on Twitter just yelling about this thing that I'm like, okay, but that thing right there, that's what you're most concerned about right now, is that thing, when we could be, like there's so much other stuff we could be working towards and paying attention to, but you're putting attention on this thing that, like, sure, okay, it's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but like, I don't know, is that really what we need to be putting our time and attention towards when we could be doing other stuff?
Speaking of cancel culture, did you guys see the academic shit this past week?
Thank God this nigga's gone, bro. Thank God. Bro, I can't believe it's taking this fucking long.
He got suspended from Complex. I think his Twitch got suspended as well.
Thank God.
I think he was forced to make like a apology videos.
I think about Chrissy Teigen. I think.
He told John Legend to check his bitch. Chrissy Teigen is his wife, bro.
Can someone explain to me real quick before it gets someone who's just not that familiar with that side of and the actual everyday? Can someone explain to me why fucking everybody hates DJ Academics?
All right, I want to give this to Balvin.
I think the same thing. Every time I see that man come up, I'm like, bro, why does everybody hate this guy so much?
How much time do you have? Because we could be here for
bro.
How much time do y'all have?
I think the most egregious thing that he did and why people don't like him in general is because like a big thing that the reason why he got all of his fame and popularity was essentially making fun of and like sort of delegitimizing people who actually have to go through like real struggle and like have to like sell drugs and commit crimes and like all that kind of bullshit. He made an entire career off of essentially clowning people like that, right? So he's gotten all this clout and fame from this community and this group of people that he really has no real association with and can't really relate to. So it comes across as him like sort of pimping out an entire culture of people for monetary gain, when in actuality, like for his entire life, he's lived in like his mom's basement and has never been about any of the kind of shit that he like claims to be about, essentially. I know Balvin is much more knowledgeable on this topic, so I'd like to pass it to him so he can give you guys more information.
The Chicago street shit, definitely.
Let me get my Bible out. All right. I'm gonna do this the fastest way possible, so I don't want to be here all day.
He was banned from Twitch.
So, like to bounce on what Omega said, his entire claim to fame before he was a fake news outlet journalist guy, and he's not even a DJ. I don't know why his name is that, but his entire claim to fame was a YouTube series he had called The War on Chicago, and basically, or the war in Chirac. He doesn't even live in Chicago, by the way. Never lived there. But he had about 1,000+ videos, essentially making a mockery and quote unquote reporting on gang and gun violence in Chicago. for a good 2 or 3 years he did this. He would make all kind of jokes and give niggas nicknames and act like this wasn't like real people dying like every single day, right? Like, and that's why he got popular, is because niggas ate that shit up. And he really he made a whole joke out of what the actual gun violence and gang violence is in Chicago. And doing that, he somehow got a legit platform that he then transformed into being a fake news outlet, where he would take other people's videos and put his own @ symbol on it as a thumbnail or a watermark and put it on his Twitter account. And he would just take hundreds and hundreds of videos that were not his and put and credit it as his own. And no one could do anything about it because the videos he would take were not really like popular. But when they go to his account, they become popular. He's a fucking cornball that literally nobody respects. That's of any importance. But he's gotten so big that you can't deny him because of how big his platform is now. Real people don't.
Internet rap one.
He said like, huh?
I said he sounds like a lot of the worst parts of the internet wrapped into one.
Exactly.
He is the worst part of the internet.
He
wrapped
is
into
like
one.
the definition of an internet dude. Like it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he's cultivated this like this community and like around him and this whole thing around his name, where he's just this really fucking popular journalist blogger guy that no one cares about his opinion, what he does. What if he nothing, but the fact that he is just him is the thing now.
What the thing is that really gives him credit, which is dangerous, is that he has kind of weaseled himself into certain circles where he's been actually in combos and DMs with a lot of like artists that people look up to, and he quote unquote has like the allure that he has the inside scoop, which he kind of gets more people following him. It's like, I know Drake, I know Tory, you was just talking, blah blah blah.
Yo,
and like
probably
bullshit.
Yeah, and the most egregious thing more recently, at least something that I consider like extremely egregious, is him and his like relationship with 6ix9ine, which is extremely alarming because 6ix9ine is a dude that like should not be supported. Like, don't watch this motherfucker's videos, don't listen to this motherfucker's music, like none of that shit. This like we can talk, me and Balvin can talk all day about this motherfucker 6ix9ine,
Yes,
but
we can.
but all that you need to know is that it goes beyond this motherfucker just like being a snake and selling a fake lifestyle and not really like, and taking advantage of people, human beings, and discarding them like they were nothing. And the fact that academics is like buddy with this guy, and the fact that they have like an existing relationship, like you got to understand, like I get that not a lot of people understand like the I guess the codes or the rules like hip hop culture and that culture in general, but a dude like 6ix9ine should not be supported or defended. Like, this dude should be absolutely exiled and given zero platform. But of course, the world is what it is. Nobody really gives a fuck, so they give him a platform. And then, of course, when you have somebody like Academics who's in the position that he's in, like, it's up to people like Academics to not give him a platform. But Academics does the exact opposite and sucks this nigga's dick.
Yeah. The two most hated niggas on the internet and in the rap world are best friends.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was gonna say it's like.
By the way, relevant.
Obviously, one of the issues we had with Keemstar, and that's kind of like my issue with anyone who brings up the Joe Rogan experience, because that dude will just have like white supremacists on his show and be like, all right, go ahead, talk about whatever your thing is, and then he'll just listen and talk about white supremacy or some shit for like half an hour.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan is another dude that I've recently become aware of him, and the fact that like he gets so much respect like on the internet is just.
Well, he gathered it up like 5+ years ago just because he was really cool with weed, and that's like an in for so many people. And like, don't get me wrong, you know, legalize weed, get the people who are in prison for weed charges out of there. But like that's like their identity, and they just stick to that shit. That's how Rogan got big in the first place. But then he'll give a platform to literally anyone, and then they'll just talk about what the fuck ever, including a bunch of awful shit. But I hate that.
The dudes with the biggest platforms are the worst people, and we see this every single day.
Yeah.
And they definitely been around for the thing is like they got the platform they had because they've been around since like early days. Like they've interwoven themselves into almost like legacy acts on YouTube.
Yeah, bro.
Exactly. He's been around since like everyone knows Act because he's been doing his bullshit since what 2006, 2004. Like,
dude, that's the thing is most people don't even know about the war on. At this point, most people don't even know about the war on Chirac.
I didn't know about it until Balvin told me about it
of his name.
Yep. Until Balvin came through and informed me about DJ Academics, I had no clue about that War on Chirac series he did.
Oh, I actually was because I'm a big part of like I like to follow Joe Budden shit. So like whenever he started like the Everyday Beam Struggle, that's when I found out about Act and I found on his YouTube channel. And then
Joe Budden was on Everyday Beam Struggle.
Yo, Joe.
What episode was that?
Yo, Joe Budden, I know you're watching. If you want to call in, let me know. I'll slide you to Discord, bro.
No, Everyday Beam Struggle at this point. But like you know what I'm talking about. But like
yeah.
And so when I found out about Academics, I found through his YouTube channel and I saw like all his different channels that he'd be getting revenue from. And that's how I found the War on Chirac. And I can understand why Vic Mensa was ready to off that nigga's head.
Bro.
Yeah.
The internet really showed itself when you saw people who thought Vic Mensa was out of line during that.
Bro, it was a dead homie that Ack was joking about. If you see the video.
Like when I initially saw that, I'm not even gonna lie. I also was like, wow, Vic Mensa, like really this was the time. When I learned what that was all about, I'm surprised Vic didn't fucking fold this motherfucker with the cameras right there. Yeah.
Vic Mensa low-key pussy though for not smacking him.
I think this is a good spot to at least end off the beam struggle right here. We talked about a lot. There's a lot of shit we haven't talked about. Like I don't want. I'll probably bring up.
I mean, I'm not.
Shit happened.
I'm still streaming. If y'all want to talk about something, let's go. I'm here.
I mean, we could keep it going. Honestly,
yeah, I'm chilling.
Like,
I wanted to talk to Afro about something, but he was.
Because like we still haven't talked about Dr. Disrespect. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Why was Dr. Disrespect banned? I need to know.
We don't know, so it's not much to talk about.
Hey, bro.
All we can say is we don't know.
Yeah,
I put out the reason why, but I had to delete it because.
Oh, bro.
And I like conjecture as like this is a rumor, guys. You know,
I'm gonna put in the Discord in the squad.
Lord.
Discord.
It's got to be awful.
All right, so
okay, hold on. Oh, there's actually one thing that I wanted to talk about really quick. Okay, so one thing that really bothers me has to go on with the Twitch community, and this is something that I feel like I should speak out about because I've made jokes about this in the past, and I just want to reiterate my point here because while I have made jokes, I thought I made it clear where I stood on this, but I'm gonna make it clear now. So when somebody gets like banned or whatever on Twitch, like for example with the Dr. Disrespect thing, everybody always points to Alinity, right? And there's something that I want to say about this because legitimately what's happening with this situation is people are using Alinity, somebody that a lot of people on Twitch dislike, and it's all a mask for sexism. Like that's just legitimately what it all is boiling down to. Like people will say the most sexist shit and hide behind, oh, but I'm just shitting on Alinity, so like nobody's gonna like really think anything of it. Like leave that girl alone. She's made her mistakes. She's done her bullshit, like whatever the fuck. But at the same time, it's like you can agree or disagree with the fact that she should have a platform or should be banned or not, but people are legitimately like harassing her, and every moment something comes up, like they're bringing up, oh, but Alinity this, but Alinity that, like dead ass just dead it, like
Bruh,
it's corny.
Did you see her latest video?
They will get mad at her for responding. I'm like,
right, like people are like, oh, but Alinity still has a platform. Like it's not even her fault. Like what do you want her to do?
Well, that's no. So that's it. She there was a clip from one of her streams where she's like crying because she's obviously very upset, and she's like, what, like literally, what do you want me to do? Do I just have to stop streaming? Like, what do you want from me to make you stop just literally harassing me every second of the day?
while we're on the subject, I wanted to jump. This is going to be something slightly different. Then we can go back to the alien thing. Balvin, I saw that when Nairo came out with his apology, you quote tweeted it and you said, "This is a non-apology. It's an apology not for what he did, but to his sponsors and fans."
Yes, that's a bar.
Just out of curiosity, right? Just because I genuinely, like, I don't think I'll ever be in this situation, but I don't fucking know. And just out of curiosity, what the fuck does somebody do in a situation like Nairo's? What is the appropriate response? Because you're so fucked at that point. Like, if there was...
Okay, sorry, that was a question for Balvin. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want you to answer, too.
Oh, Megan, by all means.
Just be quick about it. So here's the thing, right, with these things. I don't think personally, I don't think there is any proper course of action to go about in these things, and nothing that you do after you get outed will fix anything. At that point, you can apologize or whatever, and it can be the most sincere apology ever, but it's not up to you to decide who actually accepts your apology, quote unquote. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you disappointed people, yeah, you fucked up, but at the end of the day, you abused and hurt somebody and took something from them that you will never be able to change again. Ever. It's done. And whether or not y'all handled that privately beforehand or not, doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't have did that shit. Right? What you should do is just not do it to begin with. But my thing is, I feel like every single quote unquote public apology that comes out, no matter what the situation, it is an apology not for what they did, but for being found out about it. True. Because if it was not for being called out and exposed before this, they would never say anything about it, and they would die with that in their heart. And they would live comfortably knowing that they did this to this person and continue to live, and fucking every public appearance, every tweet, every video, every stream, every competition, that person has to see your face and name on the internet, on TV, on Twitch, on Twitter, and they have to live with that. And you can live comfortably knowing that nothing's going to ever happen to you because they are lesser than you.
Yeah.
The end.
And my whole thing is, I think the what you should do if you do find yourself in this situation, which obviously I agree with everything Balvin said, but you have to take accountability, take responsibility for what you've done. And I don't want to hear, I'm sorry to those who are hurt by this, or I'm sorry to those I offended. I'm sorry if you're offended, because that to me comes across, that comes across extremely disingenuous. Like, you're not apologizing to anybody. You're making an empty apology. Like,
putting it to them.
Yeah, like,
and it doesn't matter if I accept their apology because they didn't do shit to me.
Right.
Like, that's what I was gonna say. Like, don't apologize to me. I'm not,
facts.
I can't forgive you.
Like, they're like, I apologize to all my viewers and fans who I've hurt. What about the motherfucker you abused?
Yeah, it makes the victim sound like an afterthought. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry to the victim, but I'm more so sorry to you guys that found out about this. It's like, bruh,
like, I disappointed you. It's like, what?
We didn't talk about it.
Yeah, you disappointed me and you raped that person. Like, what? Shut up.
It's not like,
so some of the motherfuckers who make my blood boil the most is just like the fans of whoever, and they're probably all born after the year 2000. But the people who will reply to whoever just came out, Senpai Nairo, you name it, whatever, and they hit him in the replies like, "It's okay, we forgive you."
Bro, no, that's crazy.
Bro,
some of these niggas need to get thrown out of a goddamn building, man. I'm sorry.
Bro, when that happened, I think somebody said that to Syndicate. They said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we'll always be here for you." And I said, "No, the fuck we won't." I said, "Who the fuck is we?"
We are.
I feel like, I mean, I agree with everything, and I feel like too, like what Balvin said, like there's nothing at this point, there's nothing you can do. So I feel like you just have to take responsibility, be like, and then that's it. And then you leave and you don't get a platform anymore. You don't get to be a streamer or whatever. You just have to go. And if there's like legal repercussions, you have to deal with that. And if not, you just have to go be an average Joe and just live your life and hope that like the people in your actual circle will continue to put up with you for whatever reason. Like you just don't get to come back. Like, I mean,
yeah. What I was talking about last night was like, you could just come back under a different name, no face. Like, that's the worst part of the internet.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Like, what he should do legally is run, like, delete everything, maybe even move states, and just. Yeah. But like more so like as a person, like if you did do all that fucked up stuff, like maybe you send an apology to that person. But even then, if they want to press charges, that's over for you. But if you want to be like a good person, you send a single apology to them, apologizing for everything, and then you just leave. Like, you're done.
That's it, exactly. You just, that's it. It's
the only words that I think will ever be deemed as acceptable is like, I'm sorry, I fucked up, I'm done. That's it. I quit. That's all.
You just leave.
There's no need for paragraphs or long statements. Just like, I fucked up. There's no excuses.
I don't need to hear about how bad it was or anything. Just, I fucked up. I'm out of here.
Somebody posted his original
Honestly, I would like to hear if it was something illegal. I fucked up and I'm turning myself in.
Facts.
Right.
I feel like that no one's gonna do that though. I mean, of course that would be great, but no one's gonna be like, "Hey, bro, take me in." Especially when you know in the back of their mind they're already thinking like, how am I gonna get back? Like, how am I gonna keep doing what I was doing?
Yeah,
you know?
That's the thing that pissed me off the most, because a lot of these apologies, like, I will be taking a step back for now. For now, bro, you're done. You're gone.
I'm taking time away.
There's no for now.
Like,
time away to reevaluate myself.
What do you need to reevaluate?
It's like, I'm going to therapy. It's like, you need to do a lot more than therapy.
Especially because, I mean, there's people out there, like, it's so weird because I don't know if we'll ever see where these things actually go. But, like, actual sex offenders, like these people, in normal everyday worlds, when this stuff comes out and there's, like, charges pressed and stuff, they get put on a list. And, like, you can look them up on the internet and they have to, like, announce when they're moving into a neighborhood and things like that. Like, and it's so weird to think that these things might not result in that. And, like, yeah, sure, maybe they lose their platform or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's no like actual like real world things that they're gonna have to deal with because of this, and that's really strange.
And that's what I was mostly talking about with Thunder yesterday. Is like people are like, oh, he apologized. He's got to reform. I'm like, not like people in the comments. I'm like, people for this same stuff, like even like less heinous iterations of this, people get locked up, and then for the rest of their lives, they have to introduce themselves to their neighbors as hi, don't let your kids ever see me. Like, that's their life. Them not being able to go to their favorite fighting game parties anymore is a blessing.
Like motherfucker, you can't stream on Twitch anymore. You're still a normal functioning member of society. Like,
you still get to walk in it.
Like when we bought this house, before we moved into the neighborhood, they gave us paperwork and they were like, just so you know, this is kind of close to your house. This person is a registered sex offender, and so is this. And I know which house is there. Like, I literally know if I ever see them outside, I know, like, that dude's fucked up. That's a sex offender right there. But the people that are getting canceled from Twitch or the Smash community or whatever, they probably won't ever have to deal with that. So they are kind of getting off scot-free. Like, when you really think about it, like
it's like they got off way better than like some people get caught pissing outside, and that's like
and that's it. They're on a list, bro, for being drunk and being outside,
having sex with kids that look up to them.
They are getting off. As terrible as this, take a second and yoink real life out of it. If there was something to monitor it, and you know how like you get a Twitch or Twitter verified check mark, if there was a fucking pedophile star that just
you might be spitting. Wait a minute.
Yo, you spitting though.
Every website, like there needs to be something like that. I don't know, man.
Thunder, I agree, but that's getting a little close to like Holocaust shit.
No, I disagree with that.
If you're a pedophile, fuck that.
Or Mark, that's
I mean,
I
see the point that you're making, but
pick a shape. I don't give a
I feel like that was a tiny bit of a reach, a little bit.
Get a giant watermark P across all their tweets. Let everybody know.
Just force their name to be replaced with pedophile.
Yeah.
I literally picked Star because checkmark was taken. That's the only reason I did that.
They could just do like what they do for Trump's tweets now and just have a banner at the bottom that says like tweeted by pedophile.
A little pedo exclamation point.
It'd be like the Discord rolls and it just says pedo instead.
Yo, this is kind of off topic, but on topic for what we talked about earlier. You know how, like, with the BLM movement, how they've been fixing just random unnecessary shit?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me post the shit. Someone just posted this on Twitter.
Let's see. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I found the sign that they would have.
There you go.
I'm scared.
And this would just be next to everyone's Twitter, Twitch, whatever, Facebook handle, like
ID.
Yeah. He's not wrong.
But if there was, and again, police is the wrong fucking term to use right now. But if there was some form of internet monitor, internet social worker, you could call it. I don't care. Like
Internet hall monitor.
Internet hall monitor to handle this shit and just be like, oh, that person's a pedophile. Stamped every single link that they have, their email, like all of it.
If only. I feel like that is so technologically impossible unless they start
Not really.
like
I feel like nowadays it's
IP. Like if you're registered, I feel like
it would
when you get internet
regulated.
Yeah,
it would be regulated, and then like.
I mean, I guess I don't know. There's just so many different ways to get around stuff like that. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
If the NSA is tapped into all of our computers and giving us targeted ads on Instagram, bro, like they can do that.
They could mark pedophiles.
There would be nothing stopping Nairo from making like a second account, but he would have to rebuild from the ground up. He loses so much to do something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think it would be at least moderately effective. Is all I'm saying.
I'm with it.
Nah, I need a hologram above niggas' heads that says I'm a pedo.
Fact.
Yeah, I fuck with that.
On some Black Mirror shit, bro. Straight up.
Yeah, bro. Like a fucking. I need a UI. Give me some glasses that just marks niggas.
They coming out with the Apple Glass or whatever, right? Maybe they'll just build that right in.
Bro. Don't give me hype. Don't give me hype.
Moral of the story: don't fuck kids.
Yeah. Don't fucking abuse women or anybody.
Don't fuck kids. Don't abuse women.
Real shit. Like we all know that this shit is. Well, we know this shit is fucked up, right? And obviously we can't figure out why niggas act this way because it's beyond our comprehension. But one of the most just going back to just the harassment. The thing that blows my mind is the small things. Is niggas that put their hands on women and vice versa too, just men or women, men, whatever, touching them and grabbing them or fondling them in public and shit. I'm like, bro, I don't even like motherfuckers touching me at all.
Right.
And you have the I don't even know what the word is.
I'm not gonna talk about the ninja and all that shit situation because it's so trivial and matters so little. It's just petty fucking beef. Who cares?
But the shit women have to deal with in particular is fucking insane.
Exactly, dude. Bro,
they have to put their hands over their drinks when they go out. I don't gotta do that.
Yeah, I don't.
The amount of women I know that go out to clubs and shit and just get their ass grabbed or their hips grabbed to move them out the way and shit like that, dude.
And then I don't have to deal with that because two things, and Balvin could probably relate. Well, maybe not on the first one, but the first one being, number one, people don't want to grab my ass in the first place. But number two, even bigger than they are, and it doesn't go well after that.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly that, bro. Dude. It's so crazy.
I don't know if you guys are comfortable talking about this, but one of the things that I've really for the first time in my life noticed, because I guess I just never talked to anybody like this, is what men on the internet think is flirting. Don't
even get me started on the motherfuckers saying, how am I supposed to? They're like, how am I supposed to flirt now? Excuse me?
Yeah. What do you mean? What were you doing before? Don't be a fucking creep about it.
Yeah, a story that came out very recently concerning a group of creators. One crawled into her bed, touched her chest through her shirt, and
you should have let him know. That's where you should have
stopped it. He was flirting up until that point. I was like, what? And I just couldn't help but think they're saying this, but if the situation was reversed and they say that because they're a dude, but if it was a gay dude that pushed it that far, I wonder if they would keep that same energy.
Yeah.
They would not.
Hell no.
Why are you?
No. It's the double standard is insane, bro. The double standard is ridiculous. That That's not flirting. That is sexual assault at that point.
So hard, to like ask a woman is like, hey, you want to go out with me? Hey, you like me? No, all right, bye. Like,
okay, here's the thing, like,
but niggas be like, hey, BB, want to see my big cock? Like,
bro, but here's the fucked up part about it, right?
I don't really want to talk to me, bro.
You don't, but real shit though, you don't even need to like be that blatant with the conversation. Can you not read body language? Like if you go to make a move and somebody like creates distance between you.
Okay, Omega, this is definitely part of it. These are fucking dorks. A lot of these guys are fucking dorks. They have very little experience talking to women, and then all of a sudden they go to a TwitchCon or what the fuck ever, and women that will actually talk to them are around. Like they have little to no experience.
Okay, hold on, wait, real quick. I gotta point out somebody in my chat. This nigga in my chat. Listen, this is an open platform. I'm not trying to be aggressive, but somebody said Ed was drunk when it happened. He didn't think he was flirting. Okay, listen.
No,
you can be drunk.
Really quickly, somebody else said that he was not him. Somebody else said that was an act of flirting, and she should have stopped it there.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Just wanted to add that really
Fuck
quick.
me. Okay. All right. Listen. So, let's first tackle the drunk thing. Okay. You can be drunk and not rape somebody. I know a novel concept to.
If you do that whenever you're drunk, you probably shouldn't drink. If that's what that brings it to, you probably should just avoid alcohol.
Well, but that's also, not an excuse because I can't get drunk and get in a car and kill somebody and be like, well, but I was drunk at the time, so my bad.
Yeah.
Right. So that's actually a really good point. So yeah, first of all, being drunk is no excuse, and second of all, most normal people can drink without having to fear, I might just crawl in my roommate's bed and just feel her up a little bit. Who knows? Like, no, shut the fuck
y'all
up.
had the urge to do that? Or have do whatever?
No, never been a thing.
I've never done that drunk.
I've never
drank at all.
I was so drunk, I tore the MCL in my knee. And that was not even remotely a possibility for me to do.
Omega ended his NBA career before he.
Omega gets drunk and just starts balling. Drops 60, doesn't realize why his knee hurts.
Omega can literally get a career-ending injury before grabbing a woman's ass. I think y'all should be all right, bro.
Like slept in the same room as Drunk Martyr and he didn't fondle me, so what?
Crazy, right?
How depraved do you really gotta be to be that fucking weird?
Thunder was gone at TwitchCon. Not even a concern. For my boy
that
Thunder.
Man Thunder doesn't remember most of his night.
But you know what's crazy, bro? Niggas need to stop going to these conventions trying to get pussy. Just 100%. These are not dating pictures.
Even further than that, motherfuckers need to stop going into women's Twitch chats trying to get their pussy. Like,
we saying it all. Let's go.
No, it's like that person that's suing Twitch right now because.
Oh my
god!
That dude is 100% a troll. Like there's.
They don't $100 a week, and then they think that they will date this person.
They'll drop 100
and they're like, "This is my time," and then they push it, and it's so fucked.
Like, oh my god, she said hi to me. Like,
it's there and in the Twitch chat, and then when it comes to cons, and then they meet up with them, that's when it starts becoming a problem because
these niggas have never seen women in real life before.
I'm having those people just stay inside the whole time, or I don't know what the.
Bro, these are the same people that will see a girl without makeup and retweet it, be like, "Wow, this is what you look like."
Or they see a girl with
yo, I love that.
The best
what a
thing,
weird way to announce you've never had a girl sleep over at your house.
The best thing ever is when a girl's very clearly wearing some foundation or some shit, and then they'd be like, "Oh, finally a natural girl," and it's like, bro. Yo, you don't even know the difference, dog.
I want to burst your bubble. But
it feels great to have niggas around me that aren't incels, man. It should not be a thing. I shouldn't have to be thankful for this, but I
respecting people. I just don't get it. Like if you respect them as people, you wouldn't make them that uncomfortable when you know that they don't.
Yeah, exactly. They don't view them as actual humans.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure the people we're talking about, they did not probably experience or grow up the same way that we did to have this line of thinking. You know, they probably have their own isolated bubbles where this line of thinking's all right. Then they go out in public and they act as they do in their fucking Discord, saying like, "Let me drop some subs. Show me your titty." Like they just don't have.
Some of y'all ain't considered.
That's how I think it happens though, right? Like, because nobody talks to these people when they're growing up. I don't know if it's parent neglect or whatever, wherever it starts, and then they somehow find a Twitch chat and they donate $5 one day, and the streamer girl says their name, and they'll talk back to them when they're talking in chat, and then like that shit just grows, and it's just people who don't have enough social experience. I don't know what it was. I think
before.
A gift is just that, a gift sub. They don't owe you nothing. It's a donation. You gave them out of your own free will. Move on.
I have a hard time giving them that leeway because I barely talked to people when I was growing up, but I'm not fucking disgusting. Like, I don't get it. Like if I can do it, why can't you? Why not?
Yourself with people that like also had like a similar mindset, you know, like you surrounded yourself in an environment that did not, you know.
Toasty was also playing piano by his foyer while reading manga.
I can't even play piano. Stop.
We ain't say you were good at it. We just said you were playing.
I can't play at all. I don't even know what the keys are.
It was a baby man too.
Being coy. I remember I was talking
that man had a bowl of caviar on his armor next to him.
I'm not gonna say any names.
We're having a good conversation. Why is that?
Just where he has 2 living rooms in his fucking house.
2 living rooms.
Imagine living so well, you need 2 rooms to live in. Like that's insane.
Okay.
Hey, chat. Do y'all know the difference between a living room and a fucking family room?
Y'all niggas get both?
Hey, who the fuck has ever heard of an armoire before they met Toasty, bro? Not me.
I definitely had not heard the word armoire.
You're still stuck on the word armoire that I don't know how the fuck y'all remember that shit for like 6 years.
I will never forget that, bro. I will never forget that, bro.
But what was it?
I love my friends.
One night about it. I'm not gonna say the names, but it's back on that female streamer thing. I'm cool with like one of the a female streamer and stuff like that. And
I know where you're going, huh?
Yeah, I think you do.
Lay into it.
There's this guy, like, you know, me and her just kind of like, we were just like fine, like we we're just like cool or whatever. I talked to her every once in a while, and I guess there was this guy that was in that community for years, and he essentially like had a crush on her or something. Like he had like a massive crush on her. And I remember at one point where I found out that, yeah, niggas on the internet are weird. He came up to me. Me and her don't really talk that much. We had like maybe 1 or 2 conversations. And I remember like he came up to me and called, like he DM'd me at like 4 a.m. Granted, I was on my meth head stuff. So like, you know, I pretended to be like, I was like, hey man, just woke up, when in reality I was just sitting alone in my room. But it was just he met anyway. Hey, can I call you? And I was like, yeah, sure, man, whatever. Like, we're all right. You're a cool guy. He was like, yeah, I got a question. How's it feel being friends with so and so? What's she like? And I was like, she's a person. I feel like you know better than me. Being that it's like my 3rd day out here, and you've been here how many? Like he's like, yeah, but like, you know, you say something funny and like she laughs, and it's just like I say something and people go, oh man.
I don't know.
I was like, see, here's the thing, like I just act like a nigga all the time, and I guess acting like a nigga when you're not used to it, you're just like, wow, like, that's crazy. Like he has charisma. I was like, no, I treat people like I don't really like people.
The same way I treat women, the same way I treat my homies. Like I just talk to them, you know.
Like, what's good? How's it going?
Guess who's
man? I really never talked to a girl before. That's not.
Yo, like I get this question a lot though. Like people in my chat will be like, yo, like how do I?
Wait. Y'all talked to girls before?
I get the question in my chat a lot. I'll be like, oh, how do I talk to girls, or how do I let a girl know I like her or some shit? It's like, bro, here's what you do. You know how you talk to like me, or you talk to, well, maybe not talk to me because you niggas is weird. But just be fucking normal, dog.
We're not talking to someone. I want to talk to you.
These niggas.
We definitely tell Omega we want to slap his ass. You don't want to talk to a girl like
that. These niggas sexually harass you every day.
I was like, hold on, let me use a different.
Real quick, while we're on the matter, just because like when I was maybe 12 or 14, I wouldn't have known any better. I dealt with a lot of shit growing up, but like, anybody out there who genuinely doesn't know how to talk to a girl, or like they really want a girlfriend but they don't talk to any girls in their life, first and foremost, accept the idea that a woman can just be your friend and done for that.
Yo.
That's such a big hurdle that just eludes people, myself included. When I was a lot younger, I had to grow out of that.
I think I definitely did too. You spin.
Accept the idea that you can just be friends with an attractive woman who you would like throw that out of the window and just be like, I can be friends with this woman. Like, women can be my friends. We can have conversations. They can make me laugh. Like, once you have that down, like, that is step one, first and foremost. And a lot of guys, especially younger, who maybe had a weird upbringing or something, I don't know, like they don't, that never clicks for them. They're like, if it's a girl, I have to be trying to fuck them, and then if I'm not fucking them, they're bitches, and then I'm gonna move on to another girl. Like, but that's not how it has to be.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, like my longest relationship was with someone that we grew up together. Like, we were friends for maybe.
We get it. You're a fucking anime protagonist. You got together with a childhood friend. I hate you.
You got a giant. Yeah, but oh my.
You got Mjolnir in your pants.
Oh my god! But it was like, it's one of those things where like it kind of just happens, and then she ended up being a whore. But that's besides the point. The point is, like, you can be friends with someone and not have it turn into something, and sometimes it will, and sometimes it doesn't.
Anyway,
you don't have to talk to every girl with the intention of fucking them. That's
like, you see a girl, and it's like, oh, she likes the things I like. All right, it's time.
Also, you guys need to understand the difference between somebody just being nice and being a normal, cordial human being and like flirting. Because motherfuckers misconstrue the two a lot, and they'll be like, "Oh, I can't believe
so much
this."
as acknowledges your existence, she clearly wants you. Duh.
Bro, they'll be like, "Oh, like everything was going great with this girl, but then she just stopped talking to me or whatever." It's like, bro, she like just
some fucking weird shit.
Yeah, she just like said hi to you, bro.
Obviously, the guys in question are at fault here, but like to kind of devil's advocate a little bit, a lot of them, like, they just don't get attention from women, like, at all in their life. And the first time they get any from a girl, even if it's someone who's just being nice for the sake of being nice, like they just immediately think like, oh shit,
she wants me.
Even though that's not what's happening. Like,
how could such a fair maiden want me, a beast?
That's when they start talking like fucking Mike Z in third person.
You turned into a Kaneki Abby on command.
Eyes bulge out of my head.
I'm not your typical human being with a penis.
Bro, let me get played one more time. See, I got a slew of 31 sad anime profile pictures. I will cycle them every day of the month. Don't test me. I'm ready for this.
I'm ready.
Wait, do you actually?
No, absolutely not.
I don't
Maybe got one.
I don't put it past you to have that just in case. Just for the
like 3.
I haven't got that patch yet, but I'm sure it'll come.
Yo, wait, that would be a fire fucking meme, bro.
I'm not like the other guys. I'm a dude. I know.
So the thing
I'm different.
As toxic as it is,
So you don't like nice guys? Unbelievable.
But here's the thing: how do I actually prove that
After
I'm not
they
like the
just
other
said some
guys?
wild shit too, like, "Oh my god, your tits are beautiful." Oh, what's your problem, bitch? You don't like nice guys? Like, what the what?
Like, I must say, your skin looks so great today. Are you doing something new with your hair?
Guys, they don't like you. You're the problem.
Bro, she only like thugs, bro. I'm sorry, I wasn't born in the hood. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not disrespectful to you, my lady.
Video where the guy gets rejected and gets like a CEO. It's like, I'll show her.
Oh my god, those fucking pictures.
That picture was running wild.
She goes back years later. She's like a baby.
Niggas get their heart broken at 13 and go on a personal vendetta against women for the rest of their life.
like all of women.
When niggas get dumped at 13, that's their entire world gone. Like, that's
Bro,
it.
I'll be at 13, dog.
I'm gonna rule the world.
Bro, I see so
And
many
whenever I
people
see
like
her
that come in.
again-
There's so many people in my chat that'll come in and be like, "Man, like, I just broke up with my girl. I don't know how I'm gonna get over it." I'm like, "Oh shit, man, I'm sorry." Like, yeah, she broke up right before we were gonna graduate. Oh shit, dog, that sucks. What are you going to school for? I don't know yet. I'm just about to graduate high school. Bro, you're fine. Trust me, you're fine.
This nigga say he was gonna die alone in my chat. He's 16. I'm like, nigga, yo, shut the fuck up with that shit. Stupid ass. Niggas high school.
Once you hit 23 like me, then you can accept it.
This screenshot I just dropped is a screenshot I myself took literal seconds after entering a woman's stream.
welcome to the chat room.
I was about to say,
it was frame one of me entering this.
You know what?
stream.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and do a dramatic reading of this Twitch message here.
All right.
Someone by the name of James Cody says, "Excuse me, can you make your boobs more visible?" That's it.
I'm
That's the
surprised he
tweet.
didn't end it with like a thank you. Could you make your boobs more visible? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
A little smiley face.
Can you make your boobs visible? Smile. Morning, beautiful. Not morning, beautiful.
God,
There seems to be some sort of mistake. The cropping on your webcam is all off.
You're showing a lot of face. What's up with that? What's up with that? How we
I wanted to let you know my old account got banned. I think you already got misclicked.
Here's another tell, right? So, like, if you're past the whole women can be friends thing, every girl you meet is toxic. Like, it might not be every girl you meet.
Spit.
It might be. You have to accept at some point you might be the problem. Like,
All right, now what about? Never mind.
Huh?
I was gonna say what. What about the musicians who are always making music about how shitty every man they've ever been with is?
I mean,
Huh?
That sounds like Future to me.
So what?
I said, are they
said
making
every-
money? That sounds like Future to me.
Every man,
True.
every woman.
Okay.
Oh no, Future's no.
Taylor
This is the
Swift.
people I'm talking about. In Future's honest. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of toxic. In fact, I'm quite toxic. You shouldn't fall in love with me because I will fuck you and leave you. He's just pretty much almost verbatim his lyrics.
I think that was
And
a
we'd be
Brett
like,
song.
damn, bro. But then he'd be like, yeah, but I'm popping these perks and they killing me. And we like, damn, felt that.
EP. I ain't sure.
Felt that.
Are you sure?
I don't want to know what's available.
You said, am I streaming?
Look, all I'm saying is it's all fun and games till she wakes up 15 hours later and be like, damn, that sleep was good. How you doing, handsome?
His face is lies to me.
Yeah, if she comes to you and says I slept for 15 hours, then you're gonna have to get over it.
Tip number 3 is no girl ever sleeps for 15 hours.
bro, I saw a tweet of somebody who got a
Is in a
text
coma.
message from a girl. She responded to him like 15 hours later. He said, "Oh my god, I just had the craziest sleep ever." And then his tweet was like, "Nah, bro, he can have her."
I'm not gonna have the craziest sleep ever too. Bye. 15 hours, huh? That's it?
That's a cat nap.
Did anybody have that "Are you winning, son" meme where it's like,
Are you winning?
he just passed out with the gun there?
I would like to make fun of. I'd like to make fun of a situation like that, but I've definitely been on the receiving end of, oh my god, I just slept for 3 days straight, and I'd be like, oh, don't worry, Queen, how's your day?
That's also happened to me.
You have to laugh at our pain, bro.
No. Let me know if anybody can beat this. Let me know if y'all can top this, right? Because this just reminded me of some shit that I had a shorty DM me back an entire year later, a full year, and pick up where the conversation left off as if it had been a day.
That's a whole hibernation, bro. That's not a good sleep. She like went into a
year.
hibernation.
That's a relationship in the meantime.
Me,
Oh my god.
me, right? The last message I sent, I was just like, damn, I guess we're just never talking again because I'm not about to double message you.
Yo, what's not, see, Lotus, what happened is
later,
after
I get a message from this girl. I'm like,
nah, see, Lotus, what happened after the fourth tequila shot, her phone died, bro. You gotta
I
understand.
mean, to be fair, I've done that too, so I can't.
A year?
More? What you mean?
Nah, bro.
Damn, don't really leaving the moment.
Dude, I forget to respond for a day, and I'm like, damn, I guess we're not friends anymore, bro. Like,
Relax. People can change.
nah, bro, I definitely never responded.
All right.
No,
You gotta wait a year.
right? Because any woman who waits a couple days to answer you, just got to outgame them. So when you wait 2 years and then answer her back,
Anyway,
she'll know.
She'll be like, damn,
Relationship vice.
Who's in charge?
that nigga the one.
I am petty enough to do some shit like that. It'd be funny. I could scroll back and maybe it'll still be there and be like, oh, hey, I must have missed this.
Do it.
Sorry, I was asleep.
I was caught up in some shit anyway.
I hit my How you doing?
Fucking my bath water was running.
Not the bath water.
Can
you sell that?
Magic 2K, bro.
You gotta show her the bathtub. Be like, yeah, I took this.
Hey, Omega.
What's good, bro?
Once 2K20 hits for free on PSN next week, I'm busting your ass, bro.
Bro, come for me, bro.
Yeah,
it's real.
July. Are we all copying? Yeah.
Joe, don't play no games. I will form another community in addition to the Smash community.
Free on PSN. Oh, like
So wait.
5-on-5 team up.
5-on-5.
Isn't free still too much for that game?
So that's what I heard because I said it was free the other night, and I was like, "Yo, it's free. I might get it." And my whole chat was like, "It's trash. Don't buy it."
Okay, so here's hold on.
I know it's free. I was excited, and I was like, "Hey, I might get it and play it." But my whole chat was like, "Nah, bro."
It's literally the same.
It is absolutely worth playing.
Danny,
Not that
the
bad.
internet also said that Last of Us sucks.
I mean, it does. But first of all, let me.
With NBA 2K, if you're doing anything other than exhibition my team stuff, then yeah, they're gonna microtransaction you to death, and it's gonna suck ass. But if you're just exhibitioning with the homies, it's a fucking
It's fun. It's like the game. The thing is, the game is fun. The reason why people have an issue with it is like the people who are most into it that spend all their time playing it. Like they do stuff to fuck those people over. But those are losers. Who cares? We're not them.
Like they took away some years ago, like 2K17 or 2K18. They took away. I used to just boot that game up for the My Career mode, and they made that very VC reliant, very VC heavy. And if you don't microtransaction your way beyond the $60 game, you upgrade very, very slowly, and it's a huge pain in the dick. And I'd rather go play 2K12.
Well,
I'm used to having pain in my dick.
I found out playing like the exhibition games and doing like the franchise thing, like running your own team and stuff like that. You get VC if you play those games. And I didn't realize that until like I decided to make a my player, and all of a sudden I have like 200k VC, and I'm just like, how the hell did this happen?
Yeah, if you just boot up and try to play My Player, you were going to be under-leveled 5 ever.
Yeah.
Whatever year that they put you in a Destiny-style hub world for the single-player My Career game, like My Career mode, that ruined it for me.
I know. Me and Peter, like lately, we'll like play against the CPU, put it on like Hall of Fame difficulty, play on the same team, and then try to keep like winning with this team. It's fun, especially for free. Danny, your chat's just stupid.
I mean,
I think that's just a general consensus.
I'm not even gonna argue.
I think all chats are stupid.
It's not like people just hate on sports games all the time. That's it.
Okay, hold up. All chats are stupid, but Danny's good.
What happened?
Moon?
Oh, Danny's chat will literally sit there and watch with no audio for like 10 hours. I mean,
Them niggas got low standards for.
They
their
had the
stream.
audacity to tell me an hour and a half in that I had no audio, and then follow it up with, "I thought you wanted it that way."
like how?
They're stupid.
This is also the same chat that let Danny put his webcam in front of his health bar while he played through 6-0. And then when Martyr and I brought it up to him, his chat said, "No, don't move it. Leave it in front of the health bar."
Hold on, I might still have the picture.
You know what? I
don't delete pictures that I take like that very often.
They're idiots.
Bro, I moved it, and they all told me to put it back. I don't know what you want me to say.
Don't worry, Danny. At least you're not. At least not like Kagi, where they let him use his webcam microphone, and they said I couldn't even double it.
So here's what he did. I put it in the front. He showed them both of these. He had a perfectly fine layout for this sheet. The one on top there, he could have just deleted himself. But they were like, "Nah, I want the one in the bottom."